Good morning, traders. Welcome back. It's Thursday. We like Thursdays. We got 2 days left. 2 days left in this week, which has been a fighting week for most of you, from what I've seen. You're fighting. Remember, you're boxing it out right now. The victory comes later, right? Victory comes later. Let's take a look. First of all, futures market. Futures are down. Futures are down, continuing this move. When you look at the futures chart here, you do have this, again, you have tightening. We're consolidating. We talked about it already. Of course, consolidating right now. There's a lot of different ways to play that. There's a lot of different things that means in terms of our positions. When you think about, let me bring it over here. So NASDAQ down 1%, the rest about 0.5%. When you think about the way that we can play it, we trade both ways. So there were some short opportunities yesterday. Oh, no screen. Sorry, boys. Okay, let me load that up. Good call. Good call. Troll. Am I muted? Check. Okay. Futures, we've got NASDAQ down 1%. Okay. The other futures, half. The halfer. Okay. Not anything that's out of the woods yet in terms of the consolidation. And so it's basically until this open will be a decision-making sort of situation, probably for a lot of you, right? You're going to be deciding whether or not you're holding some positions, right? Whether you're selling some, and this is what I was talking about here on the futures chart, this tightening in here, it's sort of rolling in here. There's a few different ways you can look at this. The one being that this low here yesterday, and you're holding it. This is where it depends on right now, right? It's not to what this looks like. It's going to matter in the equity market whether we're going to start to sell from there. And if we look on the SPY, we talked about this trading in the trend line yesterday, right? We're opening at 389.32. That's about right here. It's going to be in this zone. We've talked about the bit of zones here across the market. Now Qs, of course, NASDAQ opening lower. And we've talked about this horizontal. We bounced there yesterday. We're there again today. So you're in a situation again that's some buying on support territory for a lot of tickers. But what did we talk about for this week? It's not the same as last week. Last week, we were buyers on the dip. We bought all of this dip last week. We talked about this week is very different in the way we're looking at it. We're realizing that we're in a consolidation here, right? We continued towards the upside after this buy, right? Did very well with that. But over here, we understand there's a little bit more, not risk of some, market-wide pandemic like COVID happening, where you're going to lose it's going to come down here. No, that we're consolidating, right? We're slowing down. So, again, when you think about things, it shouldn't always be one extreme or the other, whether you're going to make a lot of money or you're going to lose all your money. That's ridiculous. When we get stopped out, we get stopped at break even. We don't get stopped out at minus 99%. Right? And so again, reminder, if you are getting beat up, you're doing something wrong. Your stops, you could be placing those stops a little tighter, my friend. What did we talk about this week? And last week, actually. Tighter stops, right? So you shouldn't be getting beat up. And again, when you're entering positions, you want your positions to be heading towards the upside as you're buying, or if you're selling, have them obviously moving to the downside. So there should be no pressure still in terms of risk when you're buying, I would say. We talked about this a bit yesterday. There were certainly some times when we could, for instance, that short-term Amazon trade I took yesterday obviously was just a day trade. But even in that moment when realizing that, okay, I have a little bit of risk I can put on, even in that moment when you buy that, there isn't a downside risk to that position. You buy it, you're catching the bids, and then as soon as it starts to reverse, you can get out of that position. Or if you're going to get stopped out, you're going to get stopped out not at minus 30%, at break even. At worst, I always talk about at worst for your stops, you're on contracts, right, for for options, you're losing 10% at worst. And a lot of that comes from gap situations, and that's involved risk in your portfolio already. So again, the people that were, let's talk about some of the long positions, right? The people that have entered new long positions from here that are pushing positions, of course, you're getting into that decision-making time. A lot of the times you want those positions to get stopped. Something like JGR mentioned, I'm just going to give him as an example here. Yesterday you saw he basically broke even from Tuesday and Wednesday, right? It was basically like a break even, but he's going to have the decision to be able to push those long positions if we start bid here today, which again, you don't get to decide which way the market goes. All you can do is react, right? Now, we talked about this being a different situation with the breakdown. If there's another breakdown here, then we understand that, okay, anything tied to this needs to be sold. We understand we need to react that way, right? And we talked about there is a possibility that you could get this situation as well. So there is no such thing as guessing or betting which way. All we can do is hold our position for the probability of entering here, or we now have the decision to whether we sell it or not, right? And so a lot of the times you just need to be sticking to the rules. Now, again, there's going to be, you guys already know, you're going to have the finickiness of we're opening on support. There are so many charts that you're going to be able to buy on support today. So you can't look at this market average and let it dictate your trading. We use this as a bias for an understanding of overall supply and demand. Not, again, if you are exclusively trading my charts, then okay, you already know, because when you're trading some of these other charts, I'm going to show you a good example. I know there's a few people in this trade. This TCS trade, right? Again, man, can you stop drawing so many lines on your charts? This trade over here is actually very holdable through this market movement. But again, here's a good situation where, okay, I'm doing okay in my position. The pullback, I've got support, and I'm going to hold and push through this position because, again, the chances of the upside here are greater. And now you're getting paid in pre-market with 8.5% coming up into the trend line. You have a very obvious transition point, right? These sort of situations. I think Fiverr is another good example here. I think there's a lot of different ways, though, in which this got transitioned up here, that this likely was already break even yesterday, broke the trend line. So the people getting paid here are the ones that didn't transition, and you would have already got paid if you did transition, and you wouldn't need to worry about this pullback. So again, in terms of risk, the transition here was the best play. But of course, if you did hold, now you're getting paid up here. Now this is another situation where you can get in. I'll just make a quick mention because I know you guys are going to meme about it. The G-Tech position here is up 200% pre-market. This was a weekly chart that I posted back in November. Again, windbreakers. We'll leave it at that. There are a few charts that are notable in terms of technicals themselves. The CADE chart here with the trend line. There's quite a few charts that look like this. We've talked about this a little bit. These charts that have done this V sort of move off of a support, right? We have charts that do this, and then they're coming on to a consolidation, and then they finally make their break. You need to consolidate this move, right? Especially this move needed to be consolidated. And so a lot of charts are doing this sort of formation. I think there's a few good examples. Something like this here, we talked about this move needs to get consolidated. It doesn't, but then this tightening happens. Something like this tightening here usually leads into it. How many times have you seen this chart, right? I was going to actually post a screenshot and see if anyone could guess what the chart is. You would probably all say like 10 different charts because we have so many charts that look like this, right? I'm sure, again, if you look at any charts at all, of course, you've seen this so much recently, and we've talked so much about being in this position, right? To capture a move. Here's SKT it's now down to just 3%, but it was going further. Again, across sectors, you actually have this chart across sectors, and it's quite interesting to see this formation sort of form again. This move, no consolidation whatsoever, but there is this tightening that is its consolidation, right? And we know it leads to further upside based on this move, and it's going to continue this move. It seems really, it's a funky sort of abstract thing to say, oh yeah, this is going to be a continuation of this. It doesn't feel right, but that's what this tightening is. And we've seen it. We've seen it on a lot of charts. And again, this is like a value oriented thing, so we understand that a bit. Otherwise, on the sell side, let's say big moves on solar. You obviously saw a lot of. I posted the bearish charts in terms of FSLR, the run chart. Those are very good short opportunities. I would say better than the others because there's a retail presence there. There's going to be some real boogeymen in that option chain this morning. If I would be careful because I do want to mention this. This is probably a good note. When we're all sort of trading the same tickers here, I know it doesn't seem like that much. It may not seem like that much money or that big of a difference. I would be careful if you're trying to do things that everyone in this chat's trying to do. Like, if we're all shorting run, like, you may underestimate the level of volume that's going to get in there. And so if you are a little bit slower and you know I'm going to be shorting something and doing something, you may want to be careful about like placing your trades 10 minutes after open and then thinking you're doing okay, right? That is a thing. I don't know if we've had any good examples of it yet where people in this chat are actually buying and selling from each other, but I would have to imagine it's happened before. I would just be very careful about some of these things. Like run is probably a good example, maybe not the best example, but there are charts like that that are a little bit more retail oriented that there's going to be pricing in there that you're going to get caught on, and you're just going to, there's nothing you can do, right? You just bought a little bit too late, and now you're buying from someone else, right? Because again, the shorting, the way the shorting works, especially with me, is I'm very quick with it. I'm not pushing it like a long position. I'm hitting and run, and so I need retail to buy from me, right? If I'm selling puts, like I buy puts and I'm closing that position, then you're buying my closing position, and usually for a bad price. So keep those ideas in mind. I mean, it's not like you need to change up your style, but you certainly can't be chasing in that situation when you know there's probably a finite amount of volume, and if the volume is sort of against you, then you got to be careful. So just keep that idea in mind a little bit. Maybe it's also be funny if we could find out a way to figure out who's in this chat trading back and forth to each other. But so the SunPower chart, we talked about the possibilities. I think Brian mentioned this trend line here, the 5th to the 5th, whether it bounced or not. We saw that. I talked about more of this situation that felt a little bit more applicable. Now, this is at $40. It's right on this trend line, which we had originally talked about that it would pull into this trend line. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and adjust this. It's coming into this trend line here. This, again, you cannot decide and say that this is not going to bounce here and it's not a good opportunity. Again, the market opens a little low. Everyone likes to get a little frisky and buy the bid, right? They're going to be bidding and buying on fear. You don't know, right? And so you need to wait. And so those of you that have orders ready, you don't get to send those to the exchange yet. You need to wait and see it. It's going to be abundantly obvious this morning. There is not going to be, there could be a fake out. Don't quote me, but there could be a fake out. So be mindful of that. But this is not a situation where you can say, oh, yeah, this is for sure. No, it needs to break down before you can make a decision. So it does look like it's going to, but just keep these ideas in mind. Again, we've talked about sort of EVs and sort of some of this continuous consolidation. The plug chart obviously looking like the Tesla chart, right? These have not been positions to be trading, and there's certainly short opportunities. We even joked about shorting the Tesla chart. Again, this is coming into the trend line here. You, again, cannot say that this is not going to be a good buy on the trend line, right? This is a strong trend line. It's a strong trend line. But again, this move here, I just really want to make sure that this is understandable, that we see something like this. It's no different than any other chart that we look at where we find a consolidation and then it breaks out or it breaks down. This was a clear breakdown, and it's continued the path, guys, right? There is not like some sorcery here of you don't know and it could possibly do this or that. It's going to trade on its schedule based on supply and demand, and that's all we're looking at here, right? All these trend lines mean, or supply levels mean, or supply and demand and where price is going to be, right? So again, there's probability involved. This is not exactly Those of you that bought over here, I talked about it. It's just a little too risky to buy here yesterday. And then I think some of you saw that our Kathy Wooder, she put a position on. She's like adding to her position or whatever. Okay, is that is that gonna help? That doesn't help exactly. So it doesn't matter. It may matter. It might matter in a month, right? She's the intern, isn't she? I wish. So, again, in terms of that, I mean, let's just be honest. This is the opportunity at the trend line. That will be sort of a point of interest for a lot of people. And again, we need to see what the market's going to decide. I would say in terms of probability, the biggest probability here, and again, when I feel a certain way, and that if the market's selling, then I'm going to be pretty strict on it and I'll just preempt it. I feel like the market's going to open bid. I feel like it's going to open bid. I think I'm gonna bring it over to a macro sense here. The yields are rising very quickly, and it's certainly a bit of a worry. And again, I talked about this a little bit. The yields are rising on bonds. Again, this is due to a lot of selling over there, right? They're rising to a level that you do need to start to worry about it because they're offering a different level of a return now comparatively. But what that tells us is that there's people selling treasuries and that there's a lot of cash out there. And when you go look at this DXY chart, right, it's not moving in such a way that's telling me that there's safe haven going on, right? There's no safe haven in terms of trying to sit on your cash, put it in your mattress, and be careful. It's just not there. And yeah, the VIX, spot VIX is rising a little bit more today, right? When we look at it, that's the derivative here. You can see the derivative is telling us that the spot VIX is moving up. But again, when we look at the other derivatives, it doesn't. So this is moving today, and this is very much an important time. But what's really happening is it's not really signaling to us that selling in the bond market is actually causing some sort of equity sale. It just is a thought. It's a thought. That's all. Not as in a thought like some of you think of. I mean like thoughts, like in your head, right? Maybe they're also in your head, but as in thinking about something. So we're going to be very mindful of this today. We're going to see how the derivative market, the futures market in terms of volatility opens up. This right here is all you really need to know, right? This is all you really need to know here. If no one's betting on a rise in volatility and no one's betting on a market pullback in terms of options, then it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. That's the reality. What's the motto in terms of the market? The stock market is the derivative of the options market. That is the reality. That is the reality. That's where the gamma squeeze idea comes in, that as we approach expirations of a significant amount of contracts, as you approach that expiration, market makers are, based on the gamma, buying the underlying. And if a lot of those contracts are going to be in the money and need to be paid, they're going to be buying up the underlying. Those sort of situations continue to happen and continue to cause the biggest moves in the market every time we see a move. This move dictated by options. Everyone buying long, speculating. Everyone here, a ramping up factor. Buying long, ramping. They were all buying long through this whole thing, right? And then it causes a very quick. Over here, it's not the same as up in here. It's not the same. And so again, when you think about it and you put the pieces together, we need to be strict and follow our rules, right? If selling starts and it breaks our level, we get stopped out. If something bounces and heads to the upside with velocity, and it doesn't matter if it feels weird or you're not sure and you're not comfortable, you can't let anything slip in. You make the trade based on those simple rules that we set forward, unless our biases has changed because of what we've already seen and what we've put together, right? If we were looking at the dollar and the dollar was rising, volatility was rising, we would have already been out. That's not the case, and so we cannot allow ourselves to to let, some sort of fear-based, community-based fear, right? It's not even, it's a fear that people share, right? That echo chamber idea where people on Twitter are echoing back and forth, oh no, those sort of things are what causes that. Critical thinking and using problem solving with some simple rules doesn't allow for that. Nothing that we look at or using for signals making a decision, and so it would be a little irrational to break rules now. So again, it doesn't matter what story I'm telling right now. We're going to see what price does, and we're going to react, right? That's the real teacher. I'm not the teacher. I learn from the market. You learn from the market. We have a party, have a good time. So we're going to see. Again, the charts I've just recently posted, they are the charts. They are the charts. If you want to know hey man, what should I be doing today? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about a very good service that's provided here. You can go to the Unrefusables channel. So on the left, if you're in Discord, those of you listening to the recording, you can go into the Discord, and in the members section, go to the Unrefusables channel. In that channel, there are a lot of charts. There's levels. There's pretty little lines on the charts. The green lines are support lines. That's a buy line. If it bounces on that line to the upside, you buy. Those red lines are resistance levels. Those are the sellers. If it gets rejected at that, you're going to sell. The trend lines are where you're going. There's even these handy little target lines. Let me show you on the screen here, because I know some of you are wondering, and I probably should have done it already. See this pretty little chart here? This is everything you need to know, okay? Read the chart. This is the pattern. This is a consolidation. It's going to continue this trend here. Here's a target to give you some ideas. Price it's a yes or no decision. Am I opening on 1818, this level, which will make it support? Again, if you're on the top of the level, it becomes support. If you're below it, it's resistance. If you're on top, you have buyers below you. All you're going to watch is, are there more bids than asks? Are there more buyers than sellers? Yes. Okay. Hit the buy button. Price, as it continues to the upside, if it comes up to here and gets rejected, then you're going to sell. It's not if it reaches the target you sell. No, it needs to reverse. Usually, it's going to get rejected at resistance, and you can sell there, take profit, and we use that as a transition point. So if it goes to the upside, then we're buyers in the same way that we were buyers here. We forget about that price movement, and we start a new trade, okay? Let me tell you, I post a lot of charts. I'm going to make an analogy here that's a really bad one, but since I was watching a Bill Gates video, they asked him, hey, Bill Gates, if there was a $100 bill on the ground, would you pick it up? Because there's that whole joke of, well, it would need to be like $25,000 for Bill Gates to pick it up because of his net worth, right? And how much he makes like every hour or something. Be like, well, it would only be worth if it was $25,000. You know what Bill Gates said? He said, I would pick up $1. I'd pick up a quarter. That greedy bastard, I say. But you know what that means and stands for? That those of you that think, wow, this guy posts way too many charts, and first of all, I don't need this many charts. I just need one. That's like Bill Gates saying, well, I don't need to pick up that $1 because I've got this other $100 billion, so what do I need one more dollar for, right? None of you here are in that situation. So first of all, you can't even prompt yourself to say, well, I don't need the charts. I've got everything I need. I know everything I need to know. Listen, I don't know what I need to know, right? I see what's in front of me, but the idea that you somehow have more, or there's some really ridiculous ideas that you can get yourself into. Those of you that are learning, just go study the charts. Look at the charts and see what you can learn. Just look through them at least, right? And get it into your head, because you know what's going to happen. You're going to start to recognize price movement. And really what's important is this memory idea, so that in the moment you remember and you don't need to be checking back and forth, wasting time. The more you put to memory and the more you understand when and where you should be doing something, then you can react in the moment, so that you can look at 600 different charts. And at 9:30, let's say only one of those 600 charts you look at starts to take off. Guess what? you've already put it to memory and you know exactly what you should be doing on that chart. And that's the only way you're going to be able to do this. Because if you just watch one ticker and say, oh, I like the stock, this is the one I'm going to trade, and it's only this one, and every day you watch it trade back and forth, and then you try to buy it at every single dip, you're never going to make money. I'm sorry, but you're never going to make money if you're trading one ticker. And I'm not going to shit on Mobsky here, but there's a really funny story that Mobsky posted. I think it was on Twilio or whatever it was? Twillo? Whatever that damn company is. I think it was in the bullshit section. That's a good example. And I know he wouldn't be mad. Yeah, TWLO. I know he wouldn't be mad for me saying that. That's a good example of like going back and forth. And then you actually start going the opposite way and doing the exact opposite of what you should do, and you don't even realize you're doing it. But it's because you're trying to overtrade something and create something that's most likely not even there. Which, when you look at that TWLO chart, by the way, that's really a good example of. I mean, look at this chart. Look at this chart, right? It's one of those charts that you then, in hindsight, feel pretty silly for screwing up on, right? Because of the way it consolidates, breaks out, pull back, breakout, pull back, breakout, right? But this is an example of what we do is we get into this, I'm going to trade this, and then I'm going to correct my mistake by then doing something else. And a lot of the times you can't do that, which is why we stick to some rules and stick to, okay, I didn't get it, so I move on to the next one, right? When you make a mistake, you learn from it, but you move on to the next thing, right? You can't get hung up on it and try to fix the mistake when the market, it doesn't work in the market. You can't then go fix a trade after you've made the trade, right? By trying to make it up. And I talked about that a little bit yesterday. Remember, you know, when you do something and you screw up a trade and let's say you lose some money, you can't then decide, well, I'm going to get it back from this goddamn ticker right now, right? I lost all my money on GameStop. Now I'm going to short it. Like, those type of things are never going to help. So, you know, again, this is why we try to watch as many things as possible, because there's always another trade out there. Sometimes you got to be patient, but there's always another trade out there, and you can always find another trade, and there'll always be another one, right? Maybe it's not immediate. Maybe you might need to wait a week. But if it's 100% trade, then it only takes one, right? It only takes capturing one trade. And by the way, we're opening pretty close to this trend line here. Let's see. We're right on the horizontal support in here. So again, big decision making time. I'm going to be a little bit hands off the wheel to start it, because I'm going to, again, I'm not big on, I'm going to sell it. No, I will get stopped. The only thing I will manage are take profits on things that are already deep in the money. Yeah, the AMC one, guys, again, we talked about the value of AMC. Again, that trade above support is a trade. So again, even though it's a part of the meme economy, understand that with the BBBY chart is certainly a trade that we can take. Okay, we have this pretty large amount of orders coming through. Spread's going to get a little hectic. CYTK, by the way, be ready for that. Okay. Let me show you the cues. Sitting right in the support. Again, this is a bit of a zone. Sitting right in the support. Has it moved yet? Now, we haven't got direction yet. We're looking for direction. There's some selling on the Russell. This still has down to here though for the low. That's the low of yesterday. So again, we haven't even come to the low yesterday. You need to break again before you can make a decision. Before you decide, before your stop does, for some of your long positions especially, you need to break the low of the prior day. Because again, if you bought at a low, if you obviously already bought at a lower point, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the position still. Because again, you don't sit in a red position. You only hold a position if it's taking points off of the top of your trade, your profit, not from the downside. Because again, that doesn't make sense. So those of you that try to bag hold, doesn't make sense. You exit the position and buy at a lower point, always. So your stop should always be break even. So we still haven't broken the low. So this does look like a bid. It does look like a bid start. So be prepared for that on your charts until those lows break. Till those lows break, I would say it's going to be bid. Doesn't need to be, right? So I'm not gonna hit any buttons. Not gonna hit any buttons. On the buy side, we certainly have some trades. So again, you can't be sleeping. You cannot be sleeping. Really, a continuation from the last whole week here is healthcare, right? Just really strong moves that continue. Those I'm sure a lot of you are gonna have trouble. We'll talk about some of these like travel things. I know a lot of you you're gonna have a hard time with this. And again, this is where you need to figure out what exactly you're doing with this trade, right? Those of you that made short-term trades, I mean, I already know you're out. Those of you that are in a long trade, well, you should already have an idea of, okay, where's my relative reversal point? Should I be pushing this? If I sell this now, am I gonna get boned because I bought down here? My average gonna be all messed up. Your average is significantly better from down here, right? So when you think about these trades, you need to be thinking about not right today. It needs to be, okay, well, this is likely gonna bounce. Where is it gonna be by Monday, right? Again, this spread is pretty wide. This is pretty wide. Let me show you the volatility. Volatility is not increasing. Okay, volatility is not increasing. You gotta realize what's going on in terms of this. Just gapped because of the spot. You gotta realize what's going on in terms of macros right now. Nothing is moving. So, this open is going to be bid. Okay, you just need to be confident in that, and go with that plan until something changes. Okay, be mindful that it's gonna be bid until something changes. APHA continues. What an absolute banger that trade is. Again, those bios. I mean, for those of you that are still in some of those long positions that you lost some value yesterday, again, like I talked about in the trades I was actively making, is you can make some of those short-term trades that will cover all losses. It will cover all of your downside that you're pushing for that future upside by just capturing some short-term trades that otherwise you wouldn't be, because you don't have the risk to put on, right? So, it's a situation where you're just going to make a day trade, and you don't need to worry about whether you're going to push it to the next day. You get out of it, right? So I would keep looking for those. Those of you that are not in like full positions and portfolios and just kind of looking to make trades here and there, those are certainly the trades you should be making, right? Again, I emphasize it. So those trades that I talk about that you shouldn't be missing, those are the ones you want to be. Even if it's just a day trade, just make the trade and get out of it immediately, just to build your confidence in making those trades. Nice call outs, guys. Nice call outs. All right, so we're seeing the bid come in there. We're really looking for what's the flow, value or growth. Again, this tech thing that's going on, we need to be mindful of, right? This right over here, be mindful of what this move is in relation to, obviously, SPY, the Russell here. What's putting the most points on? Where's the most money going in, right? Keep these ideas in mind. What I will say is when we come up to the next levels and coming through this, we need to be very mindful of a fake out still, right? So this is where, if you're buying here, you are placing stops on your orders. There's no excuse that You get up from your desk, and then the market has now gone down, 25 basis points, and your order is now lost so much time, and you bought out of the money calls, and so now it's down 10%. You've got to be just putting stops on these orders because you've got buyers behind you or desk. So I don't mean just getting up. I just mean when you're here, you got to be putting a stop in so that if it does pull back on some sort of fake out, you get stopped out immediately and you don't lose any money. Okay, there's no excuse. A lot of the times it's just being lazy. Where's my stop button? And those of you who didn't know, I did post the orders and hotkeys video. It's a little bit elongated. If you just want to see the hotkey section, I timestamped it. There is quicker ways to get this done. And again, that's where when people tell me, well, I don't really have time. If you set the hotkey up, it takes one click of a button and you're done. You can leave. So there's no excuse. Well, I have to open up my app and get my greasy fingers out of my mouth, and then I got to get to the ticker and type it in. And I mean, my phone can only move as fast as my thumbs do. Let's be honest. Okay. C-Trader says F equals sell all. Let's take a look at F. I know that's not what he means, but again, we're watching for EVs and what their move is going to be. This is still holding, so this is of course where we're looking for. We are looking for a clear break. It will be obvious, and we're going to take that trade when it comes because, again, that is the sort of, it's going to be converging to the rest of the sector, and we know there's value to pick up in convergence towards Tesla. And we know that Tesla, even coming back, will then rebound and get a play. I want to talk about a little bit this here. Those of you that, again, took profit and stuff yesterday, I talked about adding on to the positions that you continue to do well on. Something like Viacom here continues, right? And I think a lot of you think I'm joking when I say I'm going to add more onto this position here because it's trending up and why it's a good thing to do. And then it's always in hindsight that every single day I say that, and then you're like, well, so that means like if I don't have a position, I can't get that position now. Like that's not a thing. So again, this is like when you do it every day and you get consistent with it, you're going to feel like a bonehead, right? So keep looking at charts like this and realize that, okay, I have opportunity here all the time. I don't have downside risk. I can put more onto my position. Again, when you think about sizing, some of you are like, well, I need to only put 2% into every trade and never break that rule. No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. If you know, well, this position's doing the best, but I cannot possibly, there's no way I could possibly put more money into that. Okay, what do we got here? In terms of a candle so far, it's pretty interesting. We're looking for direction. We get the start to the bid, but other people had some different minds. Again, we talk about the first 15-minute candle, and then the price gets dictated, heading towards 10 o'clock. So we are looking. This is a wide spread, though, right? High to low, wide spreads. Volatility that's not being, it's not really being shown here. We're getting some movement now, but it's, again, not shown here in terms of elevation. We need to see it. Show us it. The dollar, possible, right? Possible. So, again, the fake that happens would be this situation where it's selling, and then this will move, right? If it's going to, because as soon as that shit's getting sold on the equities, you're going to see it on the dollar entry from the institution side, right? It's going to show itself. There's no hiding it. There's no such thing as hiding it. This here, again, I mean, when you look at this, we're just right at the zone. So again, it needs to be clear. And what happens when volatility rises? You go into tech. If you're going to stick in equities, right, and you don't want to outflow out of equities, but you realize that you want to take profit on value, but you want to stay in the equity market, you go into tech with volatility because Tech always does well. So that's why we're sort of oriented that way a little bit in terms of volatile situations. So, the Amazon trade, these type of things, right? Okay. Wiz says Neo entry. Was this dumb? What are we looking at here? We're looking at the daily? Yeah, I mean, I don't know about those lines, Wiz, but no. Yeah. You're reaching. You're reaching. You're reaching. I would just say that you have support. Follow my cursor here. See this? You got this zone of support down here with these wicks. This 55 or so. Yeah, that's what that is. Not you. There are times when you can get these trend lines that do sort of move through things, but again, this is you're just drawing a line, and you're making, when you do that, you're echo chambering yourself. You're saying, well, I want this to be true, so I'm going to make it true by drawing this line that connects some wicks, and now it's true because I did it. That's like when you have an opinion and then you find someone in this chat that also has your opinion, and then you both go, yay, we have the same opinion, so we must be right. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, again, I wouldn't say it's a trend line. Keep the trend lines, with the trend idea. Is that a trend? Yeah, it's downtrend. It's starting a downtrend, but not through the middle of the candles, right? And not through like the middle of the trend, right? Trends are trends. It's like a street. Street doesn't have multiple lines through the road, right? There's just one down the center because that's the road. Imagine if roads had different sizing all the time and it just curved all over the damn place, like the lines. It's a straight road, it's a straight highway, but you had to turn every like, quarter mile, whatever it is. Every 10 meters. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Met mentions the old discovery. Again, this trade is well with the Viacom trade. When I say that we're going to put more on here because look at this chart. When there's times of sideways trading and consolidation on the average, demand, what do I always say? Demand goes to those charts. Demand goes to those charts that are continuing their trends and have continuous velocity towards the upside. Because if you have to exit from your trades, well, you want to go enter another trade. What trade are you going to enter? You're going to enter the one that has this sort of look to it. Oh, that's obviously bullish. I'll put my money there, right? But sometimes, it's too obvious. And that's why I think a lot of people miss trades, is it's just they want to find something novel that no one else is doing. Just because it's trending doesn't mean everyone's doing it. Not everyone's right here. There's people selling here every single day. But again, this is the kind of thing where you just have to get over whatever that is that's telling you that you can't go into this and push this trade. And maybe it's because of our rules, and you're saying, well, Don, you say we need to buy support and sell resistance and not to chase. Are you chasing momentum here? Or is it just a damn trend? You're buying support because you're buying on a trend. So again, a trend line is a support. It's support. You're buying on support. Right? And I think a lot of times everyone forgets about that. Don't forget about it. Tallow continues from yesterday. Again, a nice buy from yesterday. DBX, obviously, volatile city. We talked about its tightening. This is a trade to take, and we do get these break candles. In terms of where it is, it's just tightening around a trend line right now. So there is quite a bit of supply in here, a zone of supply. That will make itself obvious, I would say. So, again, we'll keep watching that. Because, again, we like this. It is a nice trade to take, and when the break comes, it's obvious, and you can miss a point or two to remove the risk of volatility. But yeah, again, we like that trade a lot. Okay, FLNT, of course. Yep. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, we'll see right here. Let's see. I mean, you definitely. I mean, yeah. Again, you guys are talking about, yeah. It's. I think you just got you want confirmation or. Yes, yes. It sold from the trend line and it got bought at the support, right? Yes. In terms of this chart, of course, this is let me just FYI this, right? This is it just recently started getting volume in here, right? And so everything else is inconsistent. So again, there's a lot of big volume differences. You're not going to see it, right? You're just not going to see it intraday. Let me tell you already, you don't get to trade this intraday. If you can't buy from open, you don't get to buy at all, okay? It is the volume discrepancy. Let me just show you real quick. The volume discrepancy is too much. So what happens is that you see something happening, but then the volume changes, so then something else happens just because of the volume. The ratio could just stay the same. Now the ratio is to the buy side, but if the volume stops, well, then it doesn't go. These type of things, right? So when you're looking at these candles, right, when you're watching it develop, your problem is that you're looking at like 100 shares being bought or sold that moves the whole thing, right? So again, yeah, it bounced. Yeah, it's gonna bounce. You're going to see it bounce, but it's not how you're gonna trade it, right? That's not what you're doing to trade. It needs to be a yes or no trade, right? It needs to be a yes or no trade. You're going to miss like 1% or 2% on this chart. You're gonna miss 1% or 2% until the movement goes. You will see it. This is one of those charts that it needs to be obvious. This sort of thing, when the volume starts to pick up, this is one of those charts when I've talked about in the past where you get this consolidation and then you want to see clear volume behind the breakout move. Yeah, so exactly. So like in lunch, you're going to see it move just because the volume drops. And so now all of a sudden it's like leaning towards one side. But it's also the same case where it opened, the extra volume is just leaning towards one side. It could immediately fall off, which could be this situation here where it sells immediately, that volume drops, and then it goes to the bid side because the chart's bullish. Like it's got to be something that you've already planned. Otherwise, you're just guessing. This here, trading on the level is very good. Very good for the consolidation. I would say probably a little unexpected in terms of solidifying these levels, especially on this side. The understanding that we have over here is very much in line with when we look at some of these other charts. This here, right? Opening up like 1% lower, but there is some sort of understanding across the market that there is a support here, right? This buying that's happening. This isn't even on it. This is just on its trend line towards the upside, right? This type of charts. Now, Apple is garbage, right? We've talked about shorting Apple from this move, right? This is just garbage, and so again, the ability to sell this chart to short it is significant, right? It's significant, and we've talked about it over here, and then we talked about it over when this was starting to happen, that we would look to if it's going to continue to sell it from this trend line into this support here. Look where it is right now. It's pulling into this trend line. All I did was extend this from here. Let me see here. What happened with this candle? Huh. Weird. Okay. Anyway, it's bouncing on the trend line here. Let me see here. What's going on? Let me make this perfect there. There you go. It bounced up right on the trend line. I was going to say, that didn't make any sense what we just saw. There you go. It bounced right on the trend line. So this right here is a decision-making point on this chart once again, just like when I talked about over here. If it comes to this trend line, well, then you have a great decision to either short it this way or it's going to be a buy opportunity. This is a wedge out of. This is the most. I mean, this is honestly one of the most ridiculous looking price move. This is the largest, by the way, largest fucking company in the world. And I mean, what? If you don't believe that the options market dictates price, then you're out of your mind. Do you think this is about iPhone sales or anything? You're out of your mind. You're absolutely out of your mind. If you think the largest company in the goddamn world is trading based off of its fundamental value, okay. Do you know how much money is involved in this move from here to here? And then 1 week later, it does the exact opposite. You know how much fucking trillions of dollars, right? $1 trillion probably right there in terms of bets, market movements, currency conversions. Probably $1 trillion for that move from up to down. Easily. Whoa, Don, $1 trillion is a lot of money. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. From the converting to currency, to buy the ticker, to then it going up, raising in value, the options involved with that, the market makers having to facilitate those trades, to then it selling, and the amount of money it then takes for that to happen. Yeah, easily $1 trillion exchanged in that move. And now you're trying to figure it out. It's a wedge out of God knows whose bung, right? That's a crazy opportunity that is either going to be one way or the other. And if we know anything about stonks, they only go up. So you'd have to be imagine looking for upside. But we trade both ways. Zynga flag. Consolidated, for sure. Consolidated with the tightening down here. I mean, in terms of whether this, I mean, the problem again is this candle here kind of alleviates any idea, but certainly that idea, right, of flagging, but it's more of this tightening again, right? When we talk about the converging trend lines, it's more of this idea. Now, the problem again here is no whiz, this is not your trend line. But look, it's got the 3 wick touches there. No. There basically is no trend line here because of this. And so this is where then you go, okay, well, there is no top trend line. We can't use anything, and we've just got a lower trend line here. Right? Got a lower trend line. And I mean, really, you're looking at this, and again, it's a very bullish, and so you're just getting a consolidation here. And a lot of the times, those of you guys see the charts, right? This comes into this price movement, and it's consolidating towards the upside from here, right? This move in here, the way this candle forms, I'll just do it real quick. The way this move forms into here, right? And now it pulled back into here. You're probably getting this trend line, right? You're getting some sort of trend line through here, and it's going to be deciding whether or not to be consolidating like this, right? These sort of things start to happen, right? This is tightening in this area, right? And then it's going to decide which way it's moving. So again, this is more than likely you see something like that. I mean, I don't like to draw like patterns and shit like that until it happens, but the chart's bullish, right? The chart is bullish. You don't need a pattern. TCS continues. Again, this trend line up here is at $17. If there's basically no reason to transition here unless you're in some positions that are a little finicky, because this would be quite the move. You bought on support, it is quite a move. 16% it's a significant amount. So on the contracts. So you're gonna need to decide whether you're transitioning there or not. I love this price movement over here, by the way. Wow, that volatility is going to be helpful. Look at that move. Ooh, buddy. I don't know, Don. I'm kind of scared. You're saying to buy. You're saying to buy, Don, and I really don't know. Oh, gee. It could go down, couldn't it? I don't know, man. That's all right. It's all right, little trader. It's okay, little trader. All we do is react. All we do is react. ZI with this move, by the way. We talked about it over here. We've nullified. This is again why we don't draw patterns before there's a breakout, right? But when we're trying to understand what the move is doing, take a look, right? Yesterday's candle coming off of it. Now, it may react to this, but it doesn't make it anything. So I just want to, that's actually, I'm glad I clicked on this in relation to what we just saw there. You don't get to draw a pattern or anything until it actually breaks it and actually fulfills the whole idea, right? Until it actually fulfills the idea. This over here is just mumbo jumbo. There's some trend lines coming through the bottom here. This is consolidating, and a lot of times when you're consolidating, what's forming the consolidation is uncertainty. That's all consolidation is half the time. Half the time, a consolidation is uncertainty. That's all it is. That's what starts it. Is that, oh, I don't think it can go any up. I don't think it can go up anymore here. So then a consolidation starts because people take profit, and then people are like, well, I mean, is it going to sell? I don't know. And so you hold it, and then some people are buying. They're like, that's uncertainty, right? No clarity. That's a consolidation. Qfin. What's this ticker going to $40 next week or what? That's what it feels like. Some serious players getting involved, that's for sure. Which ticker? Qfin. QFIN. My favorite trade from last week. The way that's moving today, off of this move, tells me that someone's in there. When I mean someone, I mean a big boy. That's a big boy that went to the exchange too. So, yeah. You wouldn't normally, whatever that order is, you wouldn't normally send that to the exchange. That's rerouted every time. That's somebody going, I don't have time. I don't have time for that nonsense. Let me in. Don, let me in. Whether that continues to move or not, that's someone, they could be wrong. That's someone thinking there's not going to be enough liquidity to buy later for an institution, not us, right? We have enough liquidity for our little baby accounts, our little pajama accounts. The big boys that are trying to buy a lot, there's only a certain amount of shares out there they can buy, right? That's a move that's predicting future value. TCS coming up to the 17 mark again. You gotta, if it comes up into there, see ya. Honestly, if it goes through there, see ya. So LX with that move today at $12. I'm guessing someone bought that from here. Again, if you missed the move prior, the pullback from yesterday into today, what a great opening buy here. Again, it doesn't get much easier than that. So let's be honest, it doesn't get much easier than that. Is the ticker going bid? It opened on support. Is it going bid? Yes. Is it going up still? Are there a lot more bids than asks? Yes. Well, I'm just going to watch these green candles form that I know are going to come because I'm watching the buyers. I know that guy's about to auction for more to buy this Persian rug. If I want to buy it, I'm going to need to bid too. Nah, you know what? I don't want it. I'll just watch these guys bid up the price. Oh, you know what? Now that it's gone up 20%, I'm going to bid on it. I want it now. Oh, I bought it at the top. I should have bought it an hour ago. Looking for that retail stores move. So, one thing I will note, the charts that are doing we talk about two candle pullbacks, right? Some of these charts, they have that in candle form, but obviously it wasn't very much in value. Like for instance, this is only about 3% here. In relation to this move, this is actually one of those situations where you're not selling, right? If you're in this move from anywhere in here, of course you're not selling there. It needs to be in relation to the move. When we talk about these moves here on these charts, that you get this pullback, this sort of two candle pullback, and it leads to the upside, right? How many times have I drawn this week? This path here, those moves are happening everywhere. So again, these charts that look like this, when some of you ask me, well, Don, when's my, I obviously missed the move, and it's trending to the upside, and I missed the move here. When's the next time I could buy it? You buy it on pullbacks, right? So it's this kind of candle formation, and then it opens bid the next day, and you have a situation where you have buyers behind you. Now, FL, for instance, that we're looking at here, we know the sector is very bullish. Retail stores is bullish, so we know there's some sort of sector-wide demand. So you've already got like a +1 there. Now, this pullback here was not relative to this trend, so it's a very small pullback in relation to the trend here. In terms of the candles, you have a higher low here, so when that pullback started and it started to push back up, we go to the intraday. What you're looking at here is this open pulls back. It didn't even break the intraday candle low of the close, and so when it starts to push up to the upside, then you're going, okay, I have buyers behind me. I can try to get this position here that I missed before off of this pullback. You can try to get there with a little extra risk, or what you're doing is you're doing the top trend line dance, which is, okay, I get this pullback, and I'm going to look for an entry when I break this trend line here, right? These highs here. Now, this is an example where you're actually going to want the highs from these candles in here. Let me average it. You want to average these candles. Find the average between these wicks here from this move, from the most immediate high. Touching the wick from the last candle, have it look like this. Bit of an average between these. Get that in there. And that would be your buy point if you want to be risk averse, right? You want to get the trade, but you don't want to be risky at all, and you're willing to miss 1% or so, then that would be your trade. But otherwise, you're buying from that bounce at open, and so that's a pullback opportunity. Okay. And this would also be a sizing thing. You could put a few contracts at the start on the bounce and then put the rest as it breaks the trend line as well. So half and half, whatever you want to do. That's how I would look at a situation like that. And again, you would only know that if you were prepared. So keep that in mind. In terms of the market, the averages, we get this pullback down into really that the very end of the zone. So again, we have a bit of a zone that should just make a decision here, right? That tick right there, there you go, making a decision. Now again, in terms of your averages, you got to figure out, are you attached to this average or not? You already know. The question is that overall market supply affecting positions that you're in, right? When you look at this here, obviously this lead. We see this lead, so you have some selling starting. Again, this is where you're, when you think of shorts, that's where you pull the trigger on your shorts, that move. That's where you pull the trigger on your shorts, because you got market-wide sell. A lot of those short opportunities are opportunities that come from the market, right? Let me show you the VIX. Spot VIX with this spike here, confirming a bit. DXY. Confirmed it here a little earlier, right? Important to see that candle. QFIN continues. So again, some of these charts, what's going to happen? If the market starts to sell, you're going to have some of these ticker get serious demand. TCS, these positions are going to get some serious demand behind them. So again, you need to be, this LX chart, you need to be understanding where you are, right? What universe you're in. Now, let me bring up this chart on the daily. In terms of the move here, let's talk about a little bit. We've already talked about there is not a true support below this level. Now, you have a horizontal here, which is with the rest. It's sort of like where this trend line comes in here, right? So there is this whole zone, and we know we're consolidating. So we're confirming. What are we confirming right now? We're confirming further consolidation, right? Further consolidation. If you're confirming some sort of sell event, a sell event is tied to this. And so this would be significant. The move would be significant. You'd see it over here. This has not moved yet. So you're not getting a sell event. So those of you that are like waiting to cry about your bull charts, you can't do that yet. Sorry. Again, you don't have, no one's betting on volatility going, so maybe they'll wait. Maybe they won't even do it, right? Certainly consolidating though. In terms of shorts, those charts that I posted, this Netflix sort of special that was lined up, I would figure out some of the ideas in here of, I think there's probably half of you love the Netflix chart for the upside, and you'll trade to the upside, but you won't trade to the downside just because you like the ticker and you like Netflix. Maybe because you feel dirty because you Netflix and chill every night, and it feels weird to short it. Maybe that's why. I wonder if Ecto is bag holding his $9. Where did he buy? He bought up here? No, he bought up in here. The G Pro short. There's not, again, it can't be said enough. We traded this long in here. We traded it long. We wanted to be buyers at $8, and then it broke down. You've got to be able to short that without the mindset of, oh, I was a buyer 2 weeks ago. Well, now you're shorting it. We trade both ways. Trade both ways. Now, you're holding in the zone a little bit. This is only 1%. I would like to see it, make some decisions in here. In terms of the consolidation, I think there's likely going to be some side effects here. Let me show you. This kind of move when it starts to sell here, this is someone just making a mistake. Because like I talk about, if you're going to do a selling, then you sell everything. You don't, when I made that video last night, it's not like you select individual tickers and, oh, I'll sell some of this, I'll sell some of that. No, you just sell everything. Like you sell the whole position, not just half the position. You sell the whole position, like for an individual ticker, right? This is not good. This is indecision. That someone's like, I'm scared, I'm going to sell. That's not how it's supposed to work. If this is selling, and this was a significant amount, then it needs to just sell. And so that's when you know that, okay, well, the market isn't, someone did. Are they right or are they wrong? That's where then the market snaps back and tells you, well, sorry, kiddo, but. So again, I don't like this move here in terms of we talk about whether movement, when price movement's healthy or not, that's not healthy price movement, I would say, because you're not dictating trend here. You're just sort of, well, I don't like it. Well, then why weren't you a seller up here? The market's buyers up here, but they're sellers over here? Doesn't make sense, right? So that means there's something wrong. Something wrong in terms of a rational understanding. How do you use that? You trade the charts I post. How do you avoid this nonsense where you don't know how to trade this over here, the average? Well, that's why we don't trade the average. Because imagine trying to be a day trader over here, and every moment you're trying to be like, well, do I buy this dip here because some dipshit dipped it? Do I sell it here? You have no clue. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. You're buying support here, and then someone sells through it, and then it pushes back. That's not helpful. That's someone just not understanding what they should be doing. Or not just one person, but obviously multiple market participants. While you could just be trading some tickers, right? You could ignore it, ignore the noise. Ignore the noise. TCS at 1731. You could have just traded TCS. Some of you are going, oh man. Oh man. Some of you are going, oh man, it's already moved 9%. Yeti. What are we going to do here? I think you need one more candle. You need one more candle. If this posts a higher high, well, it technically has. This can be an awesome trade for tomorrow. To put on for the weekend for this kind of move. For this kind of move. I think you need another candle, though. You need to consolidate at the bottom here, sort of like this movements. These movements need a little bit more time. It's not a quick pivot. The market's been doing that, but that's at the top here. You can see it happen at the top. It doesn't really happen at the bottom because it needs to feel out that support. Give people confidence. This over here is a retail trade. You can tell because see how long it takes people to decide that, oh, okay, we're going to hold. I can be a buyer. See this rounding, and it takes like a whole week? That's people trying to test a level and say, oh, okay, everyone's willing to be a buyer down here. Okay, all right, guys, yeah, we like the stock. And so see how long it takes to build confidence down here? It takes a long time to build confidence. Look how quick they are to sell. Oh shit, we're getting out of the position. See how quick they are to get out of it? That's how you know it's retail trading. That's how you know it's retail, because they're so quick to make the decision at the sell side, but it takes forever on the buy side to figure it out, right, and build confidence. They're confident immediately up here, though. Oh, get the fuck out of it, right? That's how you know retail's in there. Look at this. See that price movement? That's retail. This over here, oh, I got to get a little confident. I don't know. I got to call my mom. Mom, make me some Tostino's pizza rolls. Looking for direction on this move here. We haven't broken the low yet. On the wind chart I'm looking at. Haven't broken the low from yesterday still, and yesterday was obviously a very nice day, continuing the move. This up here, this would be a great consolidation into tomorrow, I'd say. It's going to be further buying. So again, when we're looking at these, we don't really care about so much if there's things that are losing value today that did well yesterday, or the vice versa. Again, we're looking for direction into next week. We know there's people making decisions. Like we just looked at the SPY chart and it lost like 30 basis points in a few minutes. we know those are people that are making decisions for today, right now. They're not thinking to where price can be next week. We need to know when that is happening. And that's why I try to keep the call a little light here when people are just making decisions in the moment. They're not making a decision for future, right? You know when there's a difference. When you know when people are selling because they don't expect, they're not going to be buyers again for like a week, 2 weeks, until a certain buy point, right? That shit will show itself. Right now, there's some trades that are just being made because of today. We don't make decisions based off of a today decision. Now, this is consolidating. You're going to get some sort of... We talk about this move a little bit. This angle here. This is a little wide. It's more like this. Right? This here. You're going to get something like that in here. You're going to get something like that in here into the trend. And then come lunch, you're going to be dicking around probably. Swing back, forth. Now, this could lead into a really weird close. I mean, from the open, I think from the open already with this idea, right? The fake bear flag, right? The fake bear flag here, but it is sort of an intraday. When you put that into perspective of what happens thereafter, you get some very strange occurrences. We're going to see what happens down at this trend line here. Again, we're just reacting. We're reacting. That move there. So again, that trend line I just talked about. It's this. And you see this all the time. How many times do I draw this intraday? Right? We talk about this. So this move over here, right? Same thing happened. This pullback here. Keep in mind what happens after. This over here, this is lunch. And then see what happens at close. Keep this in mind because, again, this happens way too often, and way too often you're missing this over here. When you need to just, chill so that you can make the right decision over here. You don't care about so much what happens here. You care about where, again, when you're looking at the chart to trade it, you're not looking at it to say, oh, those are some candles there. Those are red ones. No, you're looking at it in the sense of trading. So you're looking for where's the consolidation going to start so that you can get a trade. Same thing is happening, okay? You need to be, as this is happening and you're reacting and choosing things with your portfolio, deciding, okay, when's the next trade? How can I utilize this? How can I take advantage of this, right? Think about what people are thinking, right? What are they thinking with what's going on here? We know there's a consolidation, so there's some indecision that's causing a lot of things. Where are they going to want to go? Where are they going to find comfort? Where are those comfort trades? Where's retail going to go? Come lunchtime, if price stops, and it's going to, volume is going to stop in lunch, right? And so price movement is going to stop. So what's going to happen? 2:30, price is going to go the other way. Because if it stopped, then it stopped whatever that move was that it was already making, right? And that's why that move I just showed you is what happens all the damn time. Because you know what happened over here? Well, the volume kicked the bucket. And so now that those extra sellers we had, well, they're gone. And now what happens over here? Well, the volume starts to come back and it goes back to the mean, which is what? The trend. Figure out your trades, right? Figure out your trades now. And again, that's why you don't know the timing ever. It could have been at open, right? The bid could have been from open. That's why you make it. You're reacting at the moment for that future, and you're planning through the moment and making decisions. And let's say you entered here. Well, that's why you had to stop right at your break-even point, so that when it came further back down, again, you shouldn't be day trading like this. But I'm just giving examples. This is the average. That you don't get to decide when these things happen. You just get to make plans for when they do and react accordingly, right? By the way, what is going on with this hog chart? I keep seeing flashing on my screen. Like, there's nothing happening. I don't understand. There must be some weird volume or something. The hogs are getting involved. If this makes a move, then that's ridiculous. I don't think so. The hogs. GPRE continues. Let's see what's going on over there. Looks very good. BJ. Look at how many times have I said this chart? Why does it? Some of these charts just, again, I talked about this price movement. How many charts look like this? At least 25 that we look at look like this. This big price movement here, and then this move here, right? And they're all different sectors, completely different charts. Supply and demand, my friends. No, they're all valued the same way. You don't understand, man. It's fundamental. You wouldn't get it. TSN from that support. Guys, there's a lot of charts making moves that you're missing. There's a lot of moves. Look at Campbell's soup. I'm gonna have a Campbell's soup for dinner. Campbell's chunky. Solar was definitely the short today. Solar was definitely the short. Maybe we should have short this. I don't know if you're able to, though. Probably not. Huya with the trend line is certainly one. That is certainly one there. Double top on Maxer, MAXR. That's a short. Let me show you the run chart. Here's the run short. Run came into the support, so that's obviously a very important part. But again, if you shorted that from open, you're up like 100%. So FSLR, you're at 6.5%. That's going to be 100%. So again, those of you that are going to send me DMs that, hey man, just want to let you know that my long position lost about half its value today, and I didn't place a stop. I'm going to hit you back with a, did you short anything today? Well, I mean, I'm a bull. Listen, Don, I'm a bull, all right? I understand what you're saying, but I am a bull. Amen, brother. I will not short. I am long only. I'm a bull. Hogs. Too much. Just being honest. Okay, we're sticking with the trend. Sticking on the trend here. Again, it's 10. We got 1026. In terms of volume cutting off, close to 11, you start to see that consolidation start. If we want to see if the consolidation starts earlier, if more selling continues, let me show you the move since this start here is less than 0.5%. This is notable. It's notable from the selling standpoint because, again, this is just pre-market action, and you opened here. That's not an actual outflow, right? There are some pricing things that happen here for price to open lower, but it's not the same as if this happened intraday, right? This is from open, so this is the actual outflow here. So about 0.5% on the S&P What do we usually do on a day? Well, in the most recent time, I've seen like 1.5%, 2%. So we got to be mindful of some of these numbers here. But I'm a bull, Don. Okay, this is on that trend line in there. How are things like AMC doing on this move here? Full market reactions, right? So retail reacting just to the market. So we know that retail's at least just, they're trading the market and not the ticker right now. I think we have a few good examples of that. This right here, like DraftKings. DraftKings was not trading on the market schedule whatsoever, and it's now reacting when it actually should have been reacting the other way. So that's all market oriented. That's important. Penn also doing possibly something, but this tightening is awesome. I really like where this trade is here, where this chart is here. That is going to be quite the chances in there tomorrow. Again, another Penn Friday. Another Penn Friday. This has still not moved, which is, I'm a little bit worried that something's going on over here. No one's betting. I don't understand. What is going on over here? What is going on over here? They're just shorting the fuck out of this thing. There's so much shorting going on volatility. There is so much shorting on volatility. Jesus. Well, Dawn, you see, since 2008, and QE started in December, we've been on a short vol strategy. You guys go to your first, you go to an institution, right? And you go to your first actual, like, quarterly meeting where or usually it's yearly, and you go over what is going to be the strategy for the year. And then you get this guy that stands up and he goes, listen, here's what we're going to do. It's like you're like doing a raid or something. We're going to be short vol again this year, expecting that with the quantitative easing that has started in December in 2008, that the market's just going to keep appreciating. We're going to need to be on a fees-based schedule. We make our monies from fees, people. And all you hear is the F word, the fee word. If you work at an institution, the only word that matters to you is the F word, fee. The only way you make money is with fees unless you're one of the lucky ones that works on the prop desk. But unfortunately, after 2008, working on the prop desk wasn't really a reality. Only recently did the prop desk start coming back. Goddamn glass shelves. Fucking banking regulations. So all we had was the F word. Gotta get my fees. And then you get those losers that are fee machines making ridiculous ass trades like shorting vol all day to get their fee. That's what it looks like. You know what this looks like? Fee fucking traders. That's what it looks like to me. Those of you that are listening that know I'm talking about, it's the goddamn fears. 100%. This thing is gonna blow up. See ya. Who wants to make a bet? They're over there straddling the shit out of that probably. I wish I had the orders. Ecto says, I was on a call. Did I miss the market sale event? That was pretty cool. I know, such a big move. Oof. Really, really taking a tumble there. It's kind of like, I can't even really see it. Now I can see it. You know what's funny? That's only a 1.5% away. That just feels dirty. And it feels like we should have already been there. That's only 1.5%. This is going to be a very good consolidation. This is one of our first good consolidations. These consolidations are pretty. This, first of all, was just hedging into an event, Georgia runoff. This over here wasn't a consolidation at all. You didn't consolidate anything. This over here looks like an actual consolidation. This price movement inside, this is going to lead to a very big move, I would say. Comparatively to even this, comparatively to this kind of trending. There's going to be some flows based shit that's going to happen after this. Oh my god. There's probably so much buying going on right now. Oh no. There's so much buying probably happening. I almost want to just go fucking snag this. Oh, I'm gonna make a big boy trade. Oh boy. I think I'm gonna do it. For my understanding, I think I gotta put some risk on here. Now, this is breaking some rules, and I'm using some abstract creative thinking here, okay? So, this is not for you, you know, trying to get better for all the rules type traders. I'm gonna make a preemptive trade here, breaking some rules. The meme of, why don't you just buy Apple stock? And then I always say, well, that's dumb because everyone can just do that at any point. Breaking every rule. All right, boys, we're putting the big boy apples on. These are called. These are called. You know those moves, some of you, that when you make your prior salary of a trade, you've got like your when you were working, and you've got like your salary in a year, and then you make a trade, and you're like, holy shit, that was my salary before. We're making salary trades, boys. Those are the 6 zeros or 6 digiters. 6 digits, boys. 6 digit boys. I told you I'm buying 2 La Casas today. Dos Casas. Big boys only. Give me one sec. Just give me a sec. All right, boys, we're back. We're back. Okay. Met says, Will, did you buy? Me? Go take a look at the March monthlies. That's Dawn in the pennies. We're going for the big boy move. Basically expecting it's either coming down here or it's coming up here. Take a look at these two moves. The relation between these two ideas. And this would specifically be more about here, but violence. There is no dicking around on this chart. There's not going to be price just sitting around for a couple days, consolidating and hanging out and picking its nose for a week. Nope. And what I mean by this, I mean this. Where's the date? Here you go. This. Or this. At me. The double whammy. The double whammy. Ecto says, oh, you're shorting. Never mind, I'm dumb. He's going back and forth. Does anyone know what that's called when you do this? Anyone remember? There you go. Strongle, straddle, strongle. Those all work. Those all work. Again, these charts, guys, I do want to make sure you, I mean, I know you guys probably see it by now. These charts, you got to understand what you're looking at, right? When you see this price movement, you got to understand what you're looking at. I just want to make sure when you're looking through charts and you see this and you're understanding what you're looking at here, right? Look at this BJ chart now. With this move here, understand it's just sort of how marginal this trade can be for gains. This is 2.5% here, but guess what? It's been tightening and doing nothing for quite some time after a very volatile move. What that is when you look at that volatility curve, you've got a very large amount of volatility both ways, right? And then this tightening causes the volatility to drop. Do you know what happens here? A very large a very large increase in volatility. And so now you're buying, when you're buying these breakouts, you're buying at a time when volatility is very low because it was at an extreme high. So it's the relative nature of volatility in this move compared to this move, which allows you to buy at such a low premium. And it's going to take that low premium to a high premium by volatility alone. Doesn't matter about the underlying move. Could be just a few percent. Maybe on another chart, a few percent's only like 20% or something on the contract. This move here, it's these kind of moves. It's almost like it's like that, you know, the TSCO meme yesterday, is that volatility involved there is very different, right? It takes, you know, you can kind of get into some like vague ideas and everything else, but we don't need to get into that. But it's still further gamma oriented, but Dawn flipping through charts. That's a good one. That's a good meme. I didn't think about that one. That is a good meme. Fuck. I forgot about that one. The boobers. What am I looking at this chart for still? Let's see. So Yeti reminder for tomorrow, into the weekend, into however long it takes for the confidence to get built. We have more healthcare coming. I want to, guys, maybe we should do something with volatility as well. These fucking algos over here. Should we straddle this too? That's insane to me. It's just insane to me. This is taking this idea of supply to an entirely new level. An entirely new level that I didn't even think was possible. Really didn't even think it was possible. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, in the sense of like, I don't have clarity, so I don't understand what's happening in terms of it. So I can't do anything. I would say that there's like something, using the fundamental word, I would say there's something fundamentally wrong with volatility right now. And I've talked about it before. The reason why we get these spikes and in the way the price moves and everything else, the value moves, and the way that we trade volatility because of that. I would say there's something fundamentally wrong with it over here, because the thing that was happening, right, and I always talk about volatility is just a price move to the upside or downside. But the way our volatility is correlated in the market right now is basically only to the downside. So whenever there's a downside move, volatility goes up, right? And then when price goes up, volatility goes down. So it's correlated to the negative side, right? Look at the candle today, right? In terms of relative price movement, when you look at the S&P futures, which it's tracking, like let's just use the E-minis for example, this volatility here, in relation to where the spot VIX is no longer showing us the correlation that we need. And because you can look at the spot VIX and be like, oh, well, yeah, it is, Don. What are you talking about? Again, we have an understanding that this is, when we think about volatility, we're using the derivative to show us the movement. When you then look at this, it's not adding to the same way, and so we know that it's not going to make a move, right? Now, this could pop out here and then make a move or something, but it just, when you look at this chart, you know it, even if you didn't know what this chart was, right? If you didn't know it was volatility, when you would look at this, you'd understand that, oh, this is a downwards move, this trend line, it's going to hold it. It looks like the DXY. You'd say, well, is that the Dixie? You'd be like, is that the dollar from like May or June? Like that's what I'd be like, is that the dollar from May or June? Something like that. Is that like, you know what I'm talking about? It's like, when you think about these sort of things, it's like, I don't really understand what's going on there. What are we doing? And then you look at the dollar and you're like, whoa, who the fuck who is swapping? Who is swapping over here like a 5-year-old? We're right back to where we were the start of February, right over here. And the movement is fucking terrible. All it tells me is that whoever bought over here and then sold it back, they didn't know what they were trying to do. Just some indecision. They're like, oh, well, actually, oh, I'm apparently going in a circle. looping back and forth. This should not be doing this. You should not be getting a sine graph on the fucking dollar. Something's wrong if you're sine graphing. Something is wrong if you're sine graphing on the dollar. And then volatility. I mean, volatility should always be trending down. But we're not just trend. I mean, we must just be trending up then. That's what I mean. So whoever's selling here is not doing what their portfolio is fucked beyond belief, is what I would say. So you guys see what I'm saying? The macros are not telling us that anyone's selling. There's no selling in the macros whatsoever, which means that there's just no one selling. No one's actually selling. Who is it then? Where? And what? The difference between open and where price is right now is 10 basis points on the NASDAQ. It's just fucking pre-market action. All after hours and pre-market like usual, right? But we're getting thrown by intraday movements now. You know what's fucking happening on days like this? People are buying in a boatload of calls. You know what's going to happen tomorrow? I can tell you right now that the market's going to be up at least 1% tomorrow. At least 1%. It's going to move at least 1% tomorrow. I would say, you know what? 1.5%. I'll call it right now. The market, whichever index you want to look at, is going to move 1.5% tomorrow because of the fucking gamma from all the calls being bought right now. Because either it's going to make a move to the upside because they're going to be in the money, or it's going to make a move to the downside because they're out of the money. That's all that's going to happen, and that's all that keeps happening. What's more likely? The upside, of course. The upside, of course, so you position accordingly. But again, it's just too fucking obvious that every single time, and it's important to obviously. It's not like, oh yeah, well obviously I can see that. No, I'm just talking about when you're kind of going through the motions here of understanding. You're like, what if you? Here's a good example of why I talk about you shouldn't be doing hype trades and like going off of what other, like a whole echo chamber of people are thinking and saying, well, if everyone else is doing it, then I can do it. This is a good example of why you can't do that, and a lot of times why you end up doing bad ideas because it was a bad idea to begin with. But since everyone's agreeing with it, it now seems like a good idea. You know what the selling here today looks like? Looks like some game theory to me. I bet if we look at some volume numbers, the differences between what's actually going on and what we see in terms of price, in terms of like the movement and where you see it, the value, I bet in all actuality, there's a larger inflow. There's actually a larger inflow than outflow in the equity market this week. You're looking at price and you're going, well, the last 2 days have been down here, so that's not possible. Well, it is possible. It is possible. So when I look at it, I'm just like, it's not the same as back. It's not the same as back over there. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. So either a bunch of people, it's going to be one of those, it's not like a middle of the road. And the reason why I'm saying is that, the reason why I'm like straddling and things like that is that it's not a middle of the road. It's either a bunch of people are going to be right or a bunch of people are going to be wrong. Usually it's average. It's 50-50. Usually it's just average. Usually it's not all a bunch of people are going to be right, a bunch of people are going to be wrong. No, it's usually just 50-50. When you look at a spread, usually the buyers and sellers are 50-50. Might lean a little bit one way, and so it causes price to trend, but it's almost always 50-50, right? If there's not a buyer, there's not a seller. If there's not a seller, there's not a buyer, right? So, based on what we got, that's my consensus. Clip it at me. Either way, we're doing well. We are doing well over here. Now, some positions, absolutely, we are no longer in. Absolutely. When we look at travel and things like that, again, you should not be shaken out of any of these positions. And this is where it comes to not cutting your legs off that I talk about. I love this candle here in terms of this large spread here into this. And again, when I say love, I don't care if price goes up or down. I just mean it in terms of price movement. really like to see these kind of price movements, and because this sort of candle here could mean a pullback into the downside, but based on actually the rest of the chart, it actually means an upside. That's a very difficult candle. Algos don't like it. Algos hate him. Doctors hate him. Oh boy. Okay. That's fucking awful trade. God, sweaters. You know, I joke about sweaty palms and people not being able to sleep at night. That's a not sleeping at night trade right there. That's a your mom calls and asks how you're doing trade. You know, I've been seeing a lot of commercials for reverse mortgages. I think a lot of you might have an opportunity. You know, you're doing well in the market. Reverse mortgage that. Reverse mortgage. You know. Reverse mortgage the house. Take the loan up front. And then just rebuy the house with your gains. And just, you could even probably refinance it. Refinance it for a better fucking one. Like if you have a mortgage from like 5 years ago, right? Fucking reverse mortgage that, put it into the market, and then refinance the mortgage with a brand new one that these freaking crazy interest rates right now, right? 0. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun here, boys. Goes well with the Amazon trade as well. This Amazon trade, I mean, it feels good. It does feel good. Talking about the long one, not the one you guys made yesterday. That one we're out of. What do you guys think about Twitter? I need your perspective on a chart. What do you guys think about Twitter? You think this continues tomorrow, right? Continues tomorrow to the upside. You got a higher low, that's to note, and it's down 63 basis points. So it's not down 1% yet. It's sort of flagging a little bit in terms of understanding above the trend line, in between really two channels. What do you guys think? Is Twitter going to be bid tomorrow and over the weekend? I'm just wondering in terms of what to do with this. And I think there's a retail presence. Help. All right, you guys must be having a rough day. Must be having a rough day. What if I told you your day's gonna get better, right? You think trend line? Okay. Again, I'm just asking, guys. I'm not tricking anybody. I'm just curious what other people are thinking about that Twitter chart. How's our Nike 150 doing? Oof, some tightening there. Some true tightening. It's going to be a tough one to get 150 now, boys. That looks like a great move, though. When you guys ask me, Don, is that a flag? I'm sure someone just said it. It's not really a flag, but look at these candles in here. Look at this. Look at the tightness of these candles inside or outside, outside, inside. That's some in this doji in here. I wonder if there's something possibly happening within this supply zone. I just wonder. I wonder if it's sort of like this. Find out tomorrow. Since you bought Twitter on 120, I'm sure you're okay for reversal. I transitioned here. We bought, transitioned, so my entry is over here. This whole area over here. Brand new calls. Ah. What do you think of CLF? Let me tell you, Febs. If you go to the Unrefusables... I'm just kidding. I just posted the CLF chart. It's coming down to support. We buy on support. We buy support. It's coming down here. You have two converging levels of support. I would say that this volatility is certainly helpful. Certainly helpful. And this is sort of a complementary trade to the X trade. Now, there is a chance that if we look at this on a more local schedule, these trend lines and this sort of local trend line, these local lows, still has a higher local low, that it could be a situation. So again, when you're looking at this chart through the lens of trading, you're looking for a support to buy on. This trend line is likely tomorrow. Like if the candle closed right here, then tomorrow you'd be buying on this trend line most likely, right? To the upside. And you have plenty of room to buy from there to here, right? Get like almost 6%. So there's no excuse about, well, I'm too close to resistance. So we're looking for the buy opportunity. If it pushes through here, the only reason I would buy this on as the price goes back through the trend line is if we look at value as a whole going bid. So if this is going bid and our market average on like the Russell over here is going bid, then I'll buy it today. But I do not like to make intraday trades like that if I can avoid it. It would only be if it's clear, and so I need to see it. But otherwise, obviously, I just posted the chart. It's bullish. So until otherwise, chart has not changed. And again, we see this, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday that a lot of the new charts have just continued. Today, it didn't continue because the market didn't continue, but a lot of our charts, they always look like this. When I post a chart, after a big breakout day, you're going to get a take profit day, which is perfect for us. That's why we trade this way, because the chart actually allows us to most times get a discount the next day, which is like today here. CLF is going to be a good move. It's giving us a 4% discount right now, right? And it's actually adding to volatility. So again, always remember, if I post a chart and the next day it's down 5%, that doesn't mean the chart's wrong. No, it's a fucking plan. And it's setting you up. You want to buy on the dip there. You haven't entered the position yet. So this is actually setting you up for a great entry. If it goes bid from the start, you're not catching as much, right? If it goes from here and still pushes up, well, now you just gained not only the underlying amount here, but you just actually pumped volatility up by like at least 10%. So this is how, like those of you that were here last year, this is how our charts would go every day. And we would just be praying that the next day after a breakout that it would at least do a historical return. That's why we get the historical idea from, is that you get a breakout and then it sells to about halfway in the candle, and then we would buy. So we'd put all the limit buys at halfway in the candle, put all of them into your broker, and you're just fucking hoping to get filled on a limit. And a lot of times you just have to bump up the limit and let it go, right? This is a great, there's a lot of there are a lot of examples of this where you get that break and then it moves. Another question: what do you guys think about Z? Is this a buy opportunity on the trend line today or tomorrow? I would say, well, maybe the question should be for tomorrow, right? If it opens on the trend line tomorrow, are we buyers into the weekend tomorrow? I think there's a lot of people fucking sleeping right now. I would agree. Z looking very market oriented. So of course, no, I don't mean anyone here. JJR with the no sleeping, trying to figure out what a straddle is. LOL. If if we take a look at the the trades from Z, right? We take the trade, we transition, right? And so of course we're no longer in the trade up here from this transition, right? The gap happens, so we transition, take the new trade, transition from the second daily sell candle. So when we think about where this position is as a whole, a lot of people have traded the same way, right? Going long, transitioning, which leads to this sort of pullback, right, into the trend line, back into the buyers. The market pushes price a little bit lower than where the trend line is, which we actually see on the market as a whole. It's important to note that the OG channel on Z, this trend line is very much the market trend line, right? When you go look, it's the market trend line. It really is the market trend line, right? So keep that in mind when you look at that chart, that now that it's trading like the market, a lot of we need to be very careful over here of our understanding that it's actually on the market schedule right now. This is market supply. It's not so much like, oh yeah, this is like, I mean, it is connected, but it's not like it's like a dimensional thing where, yeah, underneath this is the SPY chart and they're gonna follow each other. And no, obviously not. But it is something noteworthy to now when you look at this chart that it's actually in the same spot as the S&P when you look at that SPY chart. DDOG trend line, the D-Dog. Couple wedges were in there. Well, that's the trend line. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to get it so that you can average it and you just finagle it a little bit. Whoa, what just happened? G-Tag coming up. You don't need it to be perfect in here, I would say. But is that perfect? Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Well, it would be the start of here, which is day, November 11th. The fuck is that? Why is it not the 9th? Weird. Nothing really helpful. You know what it is? It's just a diamond. I would say tilt your head. Tilt your head when you look into this one. You get support, resistance. This is also making that this large move here. This is going to consolidate for a little while. Unless you get a clear bounce like here. It would need to be a clear bounce, otherwise, you know what it's going to look like? Are those other charts where it just tightens, 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 and then it comes into the trend line? One of those two. That's a difficult trade. It needs to be one of these clear candles. Intermediary tech, though, does very well, so that's why it hasn't taken very long for it to move. These bounces. It's pretty interesting. I don't know. Hard trade, though. Difficult trade. I would say it's going to tighten. I don't even know if you can do it over the weekend. I think you need to wait. I don't know if you have any examples. Where's the November 9th candle? Yep, I expect some tightening over there. Seems a little different than the other ones. Okay. Time is it? 11:10. God. TCS QFIN, we continue to do well. ENDP continues. You guys remember this move from yesterday I talked about. Again, if I think there's like a few things everyone can certainly do in terms of when I talk about trades that you should be able to make, right? Like that's a good example of yesterday when I talk about it from open just to do it, and it's got a sector, and then it continues today, and now you're like, well, can I buy it today? Like these questions are, again, you just gotta do it. I don't know about this move yet. Still waiting. This is quite the consolidation in here, right? When you think about whatever trend is forming through here, right? If you just connect these, it's getting pretty interesting in here, right? I know there's a bunch of bars on the screen, but I really don't care. Okay, I'll move it. There you go. So you got, you've got a pretty clear idea in here. Now, is that a flag? I mean, no, but this is quite the outside day. That's a bullish candle and a half with significant volatility and a significant spread on it. I mean, that's just crazy. It's almost, when we get these here, it's almost like this candle or this whole move is actually just right with this candle. This candle really should be here, and I think you get this sometimes where you get a breakout and then it consolidates within it. Like it's actually consolidating just this move. It just feels like it's going to be a continuation of this move, and it's just hard to see it. So, I would call it a flag, even though it doesn't. It's got the properties, but it's not a flag in a classic sense, but it does have the property where you're going to expect this sort of move on the top there, right? That sort of move, and then here's the trend line. So I would say that, what's that? That's the 23rd. Something like that feels right. All right? Feels right. What's that percent-wise? 25%. Whew. SKT, obviously posted on the. Did I post that on the patterns? I posted it somewhere on the short-term patterns. What's that chart look like, guys? What's that look like to you guys? Looks like that other fucking chart, man. Yeah, exactly. Do you think that it's possible that a move could just continue here? There could be a lot of upside here? Oh, it's a REIT? We've been talking about real estate, that these are just... There's a lot of value on this chart, right? Ooh. SKT. See you. X pulling back down into here. This is going to get real interesting. I'm expecting all upside, but this level of volatility being added, 12% day, 3.25, 4.5 almost here. As long as you're posting a higher low, of course. This is going to help with a trajectory, though, in terms of understanding, because this here, this would be opposing to this. So you're either going to confirm that, or you're going to sort of lose tempo, and it's going to be a little bit more. But there's a few things to think about. This was a 12% move, which is a very large move. When you consider things. This is almost a consolidation of that move. I mean, think about it. from here to here, that's about 5.5%. I know it's hard to see on the candles, but it's almost consolidating that move, which feels really strange. But I mean, technically, this is like a nice pullback. Again, I think this is going to be dictated by options. I mean, this move feels right. There's going to be it's going to get fucking, it's going to explode by options. That's just the reality. There's no way around that with the supply in here. There's just no way around it. Now, it could like this trend line in here. That's fine. It could like that. But based on what we know, I don't think so. It's gonna, it's coming up here. It's gonna be at least 20 by March. Oh God, guys, this candle is the candle that I was talking about. Like this, it's just in a different spot. If we get that on this chart, if you get this candle on that chart, the Russell 2000, then the game theory boys. That means they bought on the entire dip they caused purposely. Volatility is going down. We've been so we buy. I mean, yeah, we've been buying. But fuck Facebook still, right? Really nice. This chart really never stops. Like, never stops giving you everything that you want. Like, everything that you want in terms of a ticker, this chart just gives you every single time. Every single time. It's really quite something. Look at these fucking moves. I mean, it's almost scary to think about how perfect this chart is every single day. It's the same fucking order every day. You know what I talk about when you go to level 2 and you can see the same order on a schedule, right? So the thing you learn when you work at an institution are the way that the orders go, and they're just on a schedule, and it doesn't matter what the price is. You just have you're on the buy side, right? Now, you're an institution and you want to buy Viacom here, right? So you call someone on the sell side and say, listen, I want an order at open every single day. This is how much you're going to buy. And that's it. That's the end of the conversation. I want you to buy this amount of shares over this amount of time every single day at 9:30 at open. There's no such thing as, you don't tell them a price. You just tell them, this is the amount of shares. Here's the schedule every single day, and here's how many I want. See this fucking price movement, guys? You know what? When I say that, that's what it looks like. You know when I say, who does that look like? That's your answer right there. Who does it look like? It's the same order every single day at open. It's the same order. Go look at the fucking book. It's the same order every day, and it has been for a month, right? This is where that little bit of time that you take to look, right? You just take the little bit of time to look, and then when I say you have no downside risk, right? When I said that a few days ago, or wherever it was, yesterday, whatever it was, they have no downside risk on a chart like this, right? And to add to your position, and that a trend is hard to break, and it's going to continue. Just look at that chart. If you do not think you cannot manage that trade, then you're not going to be able to manage any trade. You're just not going to be able to do any trade. That's the reality. Now, you're going to say, well, what about over here and all this? This is a blip of volatility in here. This is the same order. That's a 17% candle right there, but it's the same order. Just under different market baselines. It's the same It's the same every single day, guys. It's important to see that on charts because this is really what we use charts for, and understanding candles and understanding supply and demand. We understand that the demand is the same every single day. All we need to then know is what's the supply. You know what the supply is, guys? Well, let me take a look for you. Supply is whatever is whatever came before, right? Whatever came before. That's how you look at this chart. And the reality is that there really isn't very strong supply, right? But again, when I talk about, when you look at the daily candle, I say, who do you think that is? Who do you think that is? You can go look at that and see who it is, right? You can see the order every time. That's what you use level 2 for. And that's where the good example I've used is on like the healthcare tickers before. When you go look at like a level 2 on a healthcare, like some of the big boys, like you look at like Anthem or something, you can see when people when an institution is going long on that because they'll just put the same order into healthcare every single day. Those tickers are tanks. Like they're not gonna move. They're just gonna keep. They're gonna just. You don't get to tell them what you want for a price. No, you're just gonna put the same order every day. It's gonna take fucking 2 months to get filled. Your whole order filled, right? I'm long, I'm short, I'm everything, boys. This fucking dumb chart. Getting paid, getting paid. Getting paid, maybe. The biggest tank of all. Again, Apple's a marginal trade. You don't need a very large underlying move to get a big move on options. That's for sure, right? You don't need much. It's a big boy. Largest cap size in the equity market. It doesn't take much. For every single 0.01% move, it's larger than just about every single small cap. Big difference. 1% here isn't even a billion. 1% isn't even a billion. Small caps are under a billion. Think about it. Amen, brother. Boom, 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 bada boom. FLIR continues from yesterday. Fun trade. Fun trade. Bottom wedge or what? It just keeps going up, that's for sure. Wiz calling out alerts. Oh, what's up, Wiz? No, you can talk to us. Go ahead, Wiz. I'm gonna take it. Go ahead. You can unmute and tell the boys what you think. Guys, it's called the Pit of Exchange for a reason. The fucking pits, everyone be yelling at each other. Let me unmute DRM. Let's see if he's got something going on. Oh yeah, he's not muted. See, maybe he's got a sneaky mic that we can listen in. No. There should be a time when everyone can just be unmuted, yelling out orders. That's where I love the name Pit of Exchange. That's just what the pits were called, right? On the exchange floors, because everyone would just be yelling, right? Well, I just put my headphones on. A lot of times I take my headphones off because it's just I'm trying to. I don't need them on, right? And the problem was that people would talk. So those of you that don't know, when we first started doing it, everyone would just be like unmuted, and you would just hear everyone banging and shit. Sam would like be banging on his fucking desk the whole day, and people are trying to listen to what is being said, and all you hear is like this fucking banging all day, and it's like, well, we're trying to focus and like do something here, and so it's like people should have like push to talk on or something, right? It should be like push to talk, but that's like too many steps for everyone to figure out. And so then it turned into like just everyone shut the fuck up. Like no one wants to hear your shit. But I mean, yeah, I'm all for people talking. So if you have something to say, just like have it so that it's push to talk, and then I can see when your mic's on. I can get some fucking. I can hear you guys. I just usually choose not to sometimes because a lot of people don't want to hear you. Like, but there's nothing wrong. I love the idea of people calling out tickers and like when I'm not trying to explain something. It's like right now, and just being on the floor during lunch and shit. I'm all for that. There's just a lot of people, they don't come here to listen to you, and so there's a lot of times where people take up time and other people don't. They're not here to listen to your dumb fucking buy Facebook weeklies. Like, no one cares. If it's questions based, obviously that's great. People like that. Ecto's like that hurts. He's in the Facebook weeklies. But, you know, even if it is, I don't care. Bad opinions, I don't care. Say it. If you want to say something negative, say it. Right? You'll get called out for it, but express it because there's someone else probably thinking it. Right? Like, wow, I'm losing all my fucking money, and you want to let people know? Let them know. Right? You want to get on the mic and say something? Say it. But obviously, we need to be respectful to each other. And then the other thing is making really stupid noises. Like, just put push to talk on so that we don't need to listen to you fucking jerking off in the background, right? Like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, we can get vocal. To me, then, like, the thing is now as well, let's be honest, a lot of you sucked. A lot of you sucked at trading, and now you're good. And so now that you're good, now all you're antsy to get on the mic. Everybody wants to call out what they've got. Be like, listen, man, I want to gloat too. Let me get on the mic. Do it. Do it. Med, I was talking about you. Your mic was unmuted. We know what you mean by walk back. Walk back to the wash your hands, you sicko. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think people should be, everyone obviously communicates very well in here, which is honestly one of the coolest things that we've got going for us. But yeah, do it on the voice. Who cares? And again, I don't mind the noise, and I can listen to the noise. I'm used to a trading floor where everyone's just fucking loud. Like maybe those of you that have worked like sales or something, right? Those kind of floors where everyone's on the phone, and it's just such a white noise that it drowns out everything. It's just a baseline, right? So it shouldn't really be like that. It's the way I think about it now is like we've turned it into like more of a stream. It's not like you guys watch like your favorite streamer or something, or you're watching a YouTube video or something. Like, are there other people fucking just randomly making noises and talking? No. Like, there's a certain reason. It's got to be specific, of course. What do you guys think about VRM? More? It's pretty good looking candle right there. Kind of looks like what I think the market's gonna do. Not so much. The market's going to swing back and forth today. That's not the point, but that's a pretty good take. Looks like a rejection off the trend line. We're going to be faked out. That's, I mean, that's probably the best take. Yeah. I mean, so far, that's a lot of buying. The thing I do that I've like said earlier is that if you're buying, then it's because it's like if you're selling, then you're not going to be buying. Again, that would be ridiculous. So it's like if you're buying here, then you're expecting price to go further, right? Or is it just a bunch of retail people that have no clue, so they're buying and then, oh, maybe I'll sell right here at 50. That would be the only reason why that move would stop, right? Like if you see this price movement, it's because people are going to be buying. If it doesn't, then that means people are buying in here, selling here. That's bad. So certainly possible. But you hate to see it. Dun, dun. Let's see. That dish move, still waiting for the 33.5 to break before we call it a true winner yet, but obviously has made quite the move so far. Pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this trade. This opening candle here, there's different ways to look at it. There's 3 opening buys on this chart since I posted it. And I think there's something there for everybody. So I would say all 3 of these were very good entries. Whether you didn't get here because of a reason, whether you didn't get here and you got here, either way, you're obviously getting paid for your trouble. Nice entries there. And then again, all you're now doing is, as you're managing this trade, you're watching for this resistance here. You're not going to sell the resistance here if it's pushing through it, right? This is not a transition point. You're up 2%. Chill, right? You're getting up to the resistance. You're watching and looking for that velocity through. This kind of candle leading up there, this is quite the move, right? There's a lot of buyers behind it. Very unlikely you hit your head here. Of course, we're going into lunch. It's possible you get less volume, and so you do, but it's going to be one of those where you're not getting rejected. You're going to hold it and let it trade around here until it goes further, right? And you want more. Like, you're not in this trade for this move. You didn't buy the dish for this move. You bought it for this move, right? It's quite the chart. You don't buy the dish package for one channel. You do it for the whole damn thing. Amen, brother. Getting healthcare, the tanks. This like continued consolidation at the bottom. In terms of this, again, you could wait fucking 2 weeks if you want to on these charts, right? It's not one of those things where you could wait. You could keep waiting. You're gonna be okay, right? The idea here is that it's going to be a trend, right? It's going to be a trend. It's going to continue, and it's retracement. It's the retracement idea that you're trying to get the points up into here. So it's going to move on a schedule, and this is likely the schedule, right? But just a lot of the healthcare, it's two different styles. The smaller bios are very short-term plays where you're capturing in the essence of volatility. These charts have a lot less volatility in their tanks, and so you're capturing on a longer period, even if it is a smaller consolidation like this, right? Apps trend line, flag is set up. Apps is a great chart. It's, when I look at this, I turn my head a little bit and I see that the candles are tightening. Certainly get the flag idea in there. The only thing is that what I like to see in terms of flags is that price movement. So you would need like another candle up in here and then the breakout. That price movement, it's not just that it's tightening in here. It needs to actually move like back and forth. So if we get another candle in here right? So it's not this candle, right? It's not this candle, it's that next candle. So certainly would be very nice to get some sort of flag. And again, just to be careful though, not to do the, oh, it's a flag, I'll just go get it now. No, you need to wait for a break, like always, right? Gotta wait for a break. I don't know if you want, it's not that trend line, right? No. Certainly would be nice. Certainly would be nice. And again, this is a very good chart. And the way to trade this is just to learn from the past on this chart. When you look at these type of moves, this is why this is the same move that we're seeing right now, but see how it just continued to trend down? You don't want to be buying early. You wait for the breakout, right? That's why you can say that there's a flag happening, sure, and you see it and you're waiting, but you have to wait for the breakout. Otherwise, look at, you bought over here because you think it was flagging, and you saw, look at price over here, opened higher and started to go up, and you're like, oh, it's time to go, and then you got fucked. Same thing over here. You have to wait. You have to always wait. You never call it a break until it's a break. This isn't where you can buy on a pullback. Where's the fucking pullback? What is? Yeah, I see it pulling back. It could be going to zero. That's extreme, but still, certainly wait. But again, that's a very bullish chart, so we're expecting upside. Always expecting upside on that chart. Same with like this Bison chart here, right? What do you guys think about pot stocks? Here's another question for you guys. What do you guys think about pot stocks? What's this chart look like? Kind of looks like those other ones, right? This tightening that's happening in here. I wonder why everything's doing that. That's a question you can ask yourself. Why does every chart look like this? You're asking yourself, where do you think it's going to go? Right now, where do you guys think these pot stocks are going to go? Whether you're looking at the MJ chart, the meme chart, CGC, ACB, whatever you're looking at, or some of the other normal pot stocks. But if we're just looking at the memer, MJ, what do you think? I would say nothing's changed. It's going to the upside. It's going up, I say. It's going to come into the trend line, I would say. I don't know what the timeline is, but eventually. Or at the very least, it's transposed its supply. And there you go. It's going to be on that schedule at least. All right, in terms of lunch, things to watch out for. Supply drops off and it causes the market to sell. And then volatility spikes. That's the worst case scenario in terms of a lot of you that you have to watch for, and you won't miss it. You won't miss it. So if a liquidity event happens where volume stops and volatility then corrects itself because it's not in the right position, and this spikes, and then all the treasuries sell off and all the equity sell off, well, you'll see it, and that's something to watch out for today, just based on what we've seen, because again, we know that this is fucked up. So again, we're watching for that, and that's not like fear mongering. That's just, you're just watching for, if this starts to move, the dollar starts to go, and the equities start to sell, then you would say, okay, there might be a liquidity problem here, right? Otherwise, you're going to be trading back and forth. Swinging, melting on this trend line is obviously highest probability. Same with here. And look at this move. I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that. Now, this could be a bear flag in here. If you go to the 15, it could be a bear flag breakdown here. And that would be where that liquidity problem comes in, that volume stops, and then everyone's on the sell side. Treasuries are already selling. We already saw that yields are rising. Yields have stopped, so people are even buying 2 years. Fucking idiots, but either way. this sort of thing is obviously just a melt up lunch situation, more than likely, but we're going to be mindful of this volatility problem that, again, I'd call it a problem because I know we can call it a problem. It is a problem in the sense that we're just got bad math. And this is the thing that leads to the liquidity problem, is that the volatility spikes, all of our algos and everything work on a volatility basis. It's like those of you, if you've never heard about what happened during the financial crisis, right, with our volatility models, and the reason why we had such a problem, because we go off, that's like VAR, right? You go look that up and look at the different mathematical models and why they broke down and why they don't work during a volatility event, right? Because it's not the average. So, well, it's an outlier, so avoid it, right? This is an outlier, so guess what? Algos don't even compute it. It's just an outlier, so not even going to take it into consideration. This is an outlier. It's not the average. Forget about it. And then eventually it starts to actually go, oh fuck, actually, shit, we're going to take this into consideration now that it's moved 50%, right? That's where, that's how that starts, right? And you know what it does? Then it goes, well, actually, this is a great buy opportunity. And so then that's where volatility models get really fucked up, is that these are outlying events. And that's where a liquidity problem happens, because everything wants to go one way. And I talk about that. That doesn't need to be good or bad, right? It's just a thing, right? It's something to be aware of, that, we buy up here. We fucking fear buy, right? But it's what happens within here, and then what comes after, which you have some problems with, because again, it's like, okay, if you're willing to buy it at a certain level, then why are you selling below there? You can't be buying and selling like in a ladder system, unless you were scalping on the way up or down. Like, you're just like making up your own sort of thing, your own path. And that's what algos will do when there's the volatility that they won't calculate, because it's not average. It's not an average volatility, so they see it as an outlier. And then it's only when it's too extreme that they say, oh, go do something. By the way, we bought today, so we were buyers today. Anyone that's still like, I don't know if you're telling me that's good or bad in terms of my bull position. What about all the people that keep saying flags? Where's the flag people over here? Where are all you flaggers? Is this flagging? Is that flagging? Like, where are all the flag people over here? This is where you know not being consistent is silly, right? You just wait for the move. Open candle. This is a fucking awesome candle right there, right? I'm gonna go ahead and mute DRM because I think he's jerking off. There you go. That's an awesome candle right there for all of you you people looking to buy, right? This is a candle for tomorrow, right? This would be a short-term bullish candle that will be on the list. You'll see it on the list. Anybody know what kind of candle that is there? This is either a great trendline buy or a great 31.25 buy. I would say you just buy the trend line, right? You just buy the trend line. You don't really care about your headspace, and it's very unlikely that the candle finishes here anyway. So either way, though, really nice candle, and obviously a trade we want to be a part of, and we understand what's happening in the market, right? These moves, this level of volatility, the volatility doesn't go away. It doesn't go away unless we see it with a bunch of candles on those other charts, right? Where we had spike in volatility and then it drops and then it comes back. It continues that, right? This is more likely to go back and forth, right? Based on this type of trade. Now, how would you enter this today? If it broke this level here, today, you'd start to warm up to the idea of buying it today, intraday. But again, this is also like those other trades that it's tied into what the market does. If the market decides that it's going to all at once make a decision to do something in response to what's happened in the last 2 days. And again, nothing's happened in the last 2 days in a bad sense that some of you think it has. No, just in terms of what that pullback signifies of a consolidation, it could just whip it. It just could whip it, and then you're buying all of these trades, right? Anything that breaks through levels, then you would just come close, you're putting the risk on, because we've sort of taken some risk off, right? The market's taken risk off. It hasn't become a seller. No one's become a seller in the market. It's just less risk, right? This is a lot of risk on behavior. This is just risk off. It doesn't mean anyone's selling. You got to remember, the price is fucking up here. We're at SPY 389 right now. We're at 389. For some of you, that doesn't mean much. Fucking 389? That's ridiculous. That's a lot. So, again, this is just not as risk on, right? It's not that it's selling or something. That there is a big difference. All of this price movement in here, nothing in here is selling. There isn't any candles in here that's selling. It's just a different level of risk. And that's why it's so important to understand that all we're doing with trading is trading volatility. And it's that mindset is just trading risk. And it's all risk management, because that's all this price movement is understanding tempo and the volatility involved of getting the moves. None of this, and it hasn't been. There are different times, but all of this is just, okay, well then, how long is it going to take to actually reach on these trends, to reach these levels? Like, when is it going to be 420? Is it going to be by April, or is it going to be by July? That's the difference. It's not, oh, well, maybe it's going to be 300. That, all of you know better, and that it's not like that. It's just, what's the schedule? A consolidation, all a consolidation is a timing scenario based on the volatility and the expectations of how long it's actually going to take. Stocks only go up isn't a meme. It's always going to appreciate, right? It's just always going to appreciate. The value of gold is just always going to appreciate. There's only so much fucking gold stuff on the planet. There is only so much. There's only so much. Unless every single company in the world did an offering at the same time. I don't even know if that would do anything. I actually have never thought about that. If every company in the world if every company in the S&P 500, all 500 of them did an offering, it would just keep trading on the same schedule, and it would just be like a dividend event or something. It would just be like, you just adjust it. Just adjust the chart, put the candles back in place at a different price point, right? This would just change, the value would just change. It'd be down here. But they would just keep trading the same way, right? Now it might even jump. Imagine if the S&P did a full wide split. If every company in the S&P did a split together. A 5-to-1 split. Every single one of them. Imagine. They should coordinate that. Someone should get that set up. Anyway. I'm trying to temper moods out there. Dishes at that level. Excuse me. And it also did what you wanted, pushed through, pulled back. Dirty Denny's, also possibilities. In terms of how to take the trade, I mean, it's almost there. I think you got to look to horizontals now. Doesn't really have a good one. Maybe 1675. You just got to go with it. But I mean, the idea that these are not going to continue trending up is ridiculous, right? They're all going to retrace. They're all going to retrace. Value as a whole. The time could be a little off, and that's where options come in. You got to be able to be a little bit better on the timing, but no one's getting hurt. Is PayPal flagging as well, everybody? Or is it pulling into this trend line? I mean, it would be a flag. If it got into the trend line and bounced, it would be a flag, I guess. Is that helpful? Probably not. Biggest flag I've seen. Well, a lot of these charts are going to just, they're going to stop when they want to stop. All right? This could stop right here and then go tomorrow, and then everyone go, oh, it's a fucking flag, see? Okay, yeah, got you. You knew. You called a flag on every chart, and you finally got one. If you call a flag on every chart, eventually you're going to get one right. Just joking, of course, everyone. What about Chinese tickers into tomorrow and over into the weekend? I think, again, you look back at this, this was expected today. Not so much of the sizing of the body of the candle, but you were expected to take profit today in terms of the Hang Seng. So again, that we talked about the Hang Seng a little bit yesterday in terms of its size and everything being significantly larger than just about all the others. Is this move, this would be the idea of like a short-term power, a bit of a 2-bar reversal, right? And you'd be expecting a pullback down. But we obviously have a few other ideas here in terms of how bullish this really is, and that this candle, as much as it is sort of a short-term trend-changing kind of candle, the overall bias being so far to the upside might actually just mean that tomorrow you get about a halfway retracement and you continue, right? And so this kind of thing, you look at this and this does not help. It's holding its level. I'd give that a +1, -1 for the bearishness of the candle, +1, +10 for the overall trend. I mean, I have a hard time saying that this is going to have a lower day tomorrow, even though on a technical basis, you just look at this candle here, it should. It might. Who's reacting to who right now? That's the question. Is this, if the Nasdaq's down today or something, right? Is this going to then react to that, or is this on its own damn schedule? It doesn't care. It doesn't need no man, right? When we suggest calls, does it have to be our own idea, or can it be from the Unrefusables? I don't know if that's a meme or not. You can suggest anything you want, my friend. Serious question? No, you guys can talk about any tickers you want. You see a ticker, like you've suggested a lot of good tickers, Brian. And then I look at it and say, oh, I like that. And then it gets added. Everyone talks about whatever they want. You guys see something that can make us money? Fucking throw it out there. Absolutely. Oh, for the fund. Oh, okay. We're in the trading floor. The trading floor, keep everything to, like, just, the usual. The prop desk, I haven't talked about this. Fuck, guys. No one reminded me. Fuck. It's your fault. It's your fund. Shit. We'll do this before lunch. Let's talk about the fund a little bit, okay? Shit, thank you for reminding me a little bit. Okay, in terms of the fund, right? So, if you guys didn't know, if you guys look further down on the left, so you got all your tabs and everything, right? You've got a new section in here, right? You've got a new section. Now, let me see the voting. Okay, it's 10-3, so we're going to be calling the primary fund, which is just the only one we got. I do have a joke I'll make in a second. As in, keeping on with the ideas we have. Cosa Nostra. Right, our thing. It's ours. So the prop desk will be whatever the fuck we call it. It'll be where the ideas are suggested. Okay? This is just like the trading floor for our normal trading day. Like now when we're talking about tickers and everything. If you're going to talk in the prop desk channel for the actual fund, then it should just be about talking about, I know we've already memed in there a little bit, but it should just be talking about your ideas and suggestions for our fund. Now, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, let me explain a little bit. Basically, I've had this idea since like, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago or something, that it would be really cool if I just set up just a very small account and then have everyone in the Discord and the members vote on positions and try to trade the account. It's kind of like a community-driven fund that I'm going to provide the funds for, right? So right now we've got $3,172 thanks to all of you taking profit on OCGN that McKee's suggested and enters on. I just decided to choose that's going to be the money, right? Just because it was a fun way to start it off. I'm sure the amount will change based on if something happens. I'm going to put some rules. But so anyway, we've got about $3,200 to work with. What you'll do is in the prop desk channel, you're going to suggest a trade. And again, you're going to see it. I don't have unfortunately, the way the account's set up, I don't have it API'd or anything, so we're going to do it manually for now. What you're going to do is you're just going to suggest a trade. It needs to be a bit specific. It can't be like buy Facebook, right? That doesn't work. It needs to be buy this certain option or buy this certain shares, and it needs to be at a price. Now, of course, you're going to have a hard time saying like, oh, buy it $3.45 and buy 10 calls, right? And buy 10 of those. It doesn't need to be that specific. I'll handle the thing, but it's got to be just realize it's going to be the full amount every single time. So it's going to be one trade. You can't go buy 5 $30 calls and then buy 5 $35 calls, right? It's going to be one whole trade every single time. So when you say the sizing, say, okay, you're going to buy, I want you to buy, SPY 400s, you'll just say that, and obviously you would have had to have checked to see if we can fill on that or not, right? If we got $3,200, then we need to be able to fill the $3,200 at least close, right? It's going to be one trade at a time, okay? So let's say it cost $3,000, then perfect. We can fill that $3,000 trade, whatever amount you don't need to say how many, just know whatever the dollar amount is that we're trying to fill as close to the amount every single time, right? With that order, let's say you say buy SPY 400s. You don't need to say the amount. We'll just fill as many SPY 400s as possible. You need to give an idea of how that's getting filled. For instance, when the order is getting sent somehow. So I'm guessing the best way to do this is that the order just gets sent to the exchange off the start, right? Just off the start, and we can put the order so that it doesn't like fill us if the market's going down or something or against the trade. I'll set it up so it's like we're not getting blown up on the idea. I'll just have it sent to the exchange. We get filled on it, and then you need to put a stop and a take profit on there. So I know I'm making it sound more complicated. You suggest a fucking trade. You tell me what the call is, whatever it is, first strike. We fill on it, not at market price. We'll get a better limit price for it. You just give a bit of an example. We'll know what you're talking about. And then you put a stop, whether it's 5%, whatever it is, and then a take profit. So if you're buying SPY 400s, you say, well, take profit at this point, buddy. That's it. But it needs to be a little specific so that there's a reason why it needs to be a little specific is because I can't do the trading itself. It needs to be based off of what the group says. So for instance, we buy something and it doesn't get stopped out, doesn't get take profit, and you want to exit it, just suggest a vote, right? You can suggest a vote in the prop desk section to say, hey, let's get out of the trade. And the way it's going to work is you suggest, let's say 5 of you suggest different things in the prop desk. I'm going to create a poll, and there'll be 5 different options to choose from. So one person says Microsoft, one says, LX, SKT, Yeti. And then you vote on it by clicking the little emojis. Whichever one has the simple majority is going to be the winner. So tonight, everyone should suggest something because it's going to get filled at the fucking open. So whoever types something dumb is going to get voted for tonight if you don't put an idea in there. And the account will be blown up. Now, there are rewards involved. So playing the game does involve possibly making some money for you guys. The way it's going to work. It's going to be, I'm going to post a rules thing because, again, we have to do a rules thing for like a legal reason, just to, you know. Whoever suggests it will obviously have a higher weighting in terms of a commission idea. But whoever votes for it will also get a certain amount of commission towards that. Now, it's not going to be for every single trade. It's going to be on a rule schedule. And what it's going to do is say you vote for the trade that becomes profitable. That is going to go into a percentage. And let's say you vote on the next one the opposite way. You voted for the non-profitable side of the trade. Then it's going to take away from your percentage. So it's going to be like if you were actually the trader and you're going to get the percentage against it, but you don't lose the money. It's just the prop account, just like a proprietary trading firm. We're technically going to be a prop fund. So you're going to have to agree to, when you vote, you're going to have to agree that again, no one's losing money. But if I'm going to pay people, then it needs to be obviously, like, I'm not going to just fucking pay you for no reason. Like, that'd be stupid. I'm not donating to anybody, okay? But if trades are successful, I'm going to pay commission out. And technically, we're a proprietary trading firm because you pay me $80 a month. Okay? If you don't know what a proprietary trading firm is, just Google it. Okay? You join a prop firm, they give you funds to trade, and then if you're profitable, you get a commission based on it, right? It's the same idea. It's just going to be within our members here. That allows us to get protected against half the shit that's illegal, for me to even just be streaming half the shit we do here, which, you know, look at DFV getting sued because he posted on Reddit. Like, that kind of thing. It's really silly that you can't just trade with some buddies and you know, get paid for some good ideas. I mean, it's really stupid, but either way, this actually helps with that a little bit, because if you guys have ever looked, it's actually legal for a group to trade together. It's like buying lottery tickets as a group. It's like buying lottery tickets as a group and you agree to split on it, right? That's literally what it is, but that's how it's going to work. The rules will come out. We can make it a little bit manual right now, and it's going to be API'd so that the value is always in there. That's actually a part of the legal thing. It has to be API'd into like an actual document, because again, I could just be like, I mean, there is the, like, Wiz just asked the question, like, can I put money into it? Like, this is now where the joke, someone obviously watched Billions the other day, because I got a DM. I heard there's an alpha fund. How do I join? How do I join the alpha fund? Just a joke, obviously. But yes, there's going to be, once I get the rules set up, people can put money in. But again, you're doing it at the risk of your fellow chat members who are voting for ideas. I'm going to facilitate the trades and do the best I can to like do it based on it and not get the account blown up. And that's what the stop's for. The account will never get blown up because there's stops. It just never get blown up. But still, it does affect the bottom line if there's dumb fucking ideas. I'm hoping we can have some fun with it and take it seriously. It would be really cool. I think there's some like really cool things that have happened on the internet in the last, like, I don't know, 5 years. Like this whole, like the whole thing with streamers and Twitch and everything. Like, I think there's some really cool community-driven ideas, and I don't think anyone has ever done that before. I don't think there's actually ever been anything like that, and especially done in like an actual professional manner and not as a fucking joke. Like, actually have it be legit. Like, we've got a tax fucking number, like everything, right? Like, we're an actual thing, and you pay money to be a part. Like, I think that's a really cool idea, because it, you know, we're having fun here anyway, right? And so that it's going to be an actual thing. So, you know, we'll see how. You don't have to take part. You can just vote, right? You don't need to suggest ideas. You can just vote and follow it and have fun with it. And the account blows up, no one's gonna be sad. It doesn't. None of that matters, right? The account becomes cool and makes money, then awesome, right? It'll just be interesting to see what happens. And again, those of you that know what I'm here for is to do research. I'm trying to do research. This is like the end game. This is literally the fucking end game, is to have a bunch of memers in chat vote for trades with an actual fucking account that they really don't, they just have like a simple basic control over it that they have to like spam out together and try to get in, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I think you'll actually be surprised at how well it will do. I think that's the funniest part, is you'll see that you as a group will do better than you do on your own, right? And that's the truth. So keep these ideas in mind. And again, you're going to have a few more things. There's like a few problems that I'm having on the API side because of the way it's through like the company, and there's a few problems because it's attached to my account, but I can't technically do that. That's like the legal problem, is I can't technically do that because then it's like me. It's the whole financial fucking advice thing and advisor thing, and we're not going to go down that road. So I'm trying to keep it as those of you that have been a part of a trading group or something, not like Discord. There is an actual legal trading group standard, which is that people put money together. Obviously, that's not so much this, but people put money together, and there's a voting system, and everyone votes, and then any of the money made gets distributed, and it's legal to do so, right? And it's not a hedge fund, it's nothing. It's just a community sort of driven pool that's legal, and so that's technically what it is. So that's all that is. So if anyone's wondering if we're doing something wrong, no. Nothing illegal. No windbreakers. But yeah, there will be an opportunity to, fuck the windbreakers. Fuck the police, honestly. Trying to regress me? I'm trying to progress me. We're trying to be fucking progressive out here. These goddamn Republicans regressing. Trying to go back to some ideas of some bullshit. Let people enjoy their own pleasure, man, okay? Want to live in a community of people that accept who I am. Amen, brother. Utilities. Looked at a lot of utilities today. Wonder if this has anything to do with that thing going on in Texas. Jesus. I love this ticker, by the way, but this move is very different from, so we traded, if those of you remember, we traded this over here on this move, and then we get this long consolidation, but this move is just completely different. You're gonna get up to this 40 level very quickly. Does that mean I can buy it, Don? I mean, probably. There is a bit of a level in here that should be noted. 40. All right, we're going to add in 40. Oh, I have 40. What am I doing? That's what I meant. That's not what that is what I meant, but not what I meant. I meant down here. $36.5. Okay, that's what I mean. Jesus. Okay, put that in there. I think that's probably important. That does line up with over here as well. It's gonna be a wild one. Really don't know. Not really sure. Nike's green. Still up from yesterday. Up from the low of yesterday. This, I think maybe some of you thought I was memeing when I posted that, and then I know you said you didn't really like it. You thought it was a little high, Brian. I don't know if you were memeing there or not either. No, you voted for it to go up, but I do think some of these are really going to get jerked. Just, it's the way retail stores are and the way these moves again have made themselves, and the way I've been talking about volatility, that Like, this shit just, I mean, it's finally started to move since it's lunchtime pulling back, but I mean, I don't, again, it will show itself if the market's going to do the technical break, right? A technical breakdown, not just consolidating. Again, consolidating means fire for, or I mean, it should be the other way, I guess. Like, fire is if it's breaking down, and buy is right now. I mean, based on our positions, again, you should be, I'm not saying you need to be green every day, right? You should not be green every day. Today is one of those days that you should be red for all the right reasons. From what I see, maybe those of you that are still maybe fucking having a bad time, please DM me so I know, because I don't know. I don't know if you're having a hard time or not, or what it is. And a lot of the times it's because you're in the wrong contracts. And again, I've been shitting on people a little bit more for doing the dumb shit that you know better not to be buying deep out of the money in short-term calls. I've said it too many times. It's so no one's getting compensation for those trades, right? But you gotta tell people and not keep it to yourself. Otherwise, you're never gonna know if you're doing something wrong, and you just think that something's wrong, and you're doing something right. So, like Matt says, yes, CCL makes me red, but CCL makes me red should be, oh yeah, on top of that 250% I'm on, I lost 20%. If that's the case, then okay, shut up, right? So that's where this, right? You lose 20% on 250%. So like if you're up 250 yesterday and then you lose 20% today and then you go, oh man, I'm so red today. That's where you got to know the difference. And also if you tell me or tell the group, you need to be specific, because again, that's like the echo chamber thing of like, oh, my position's down. And then we find out that you're fucking sitting on like 20 grand of profit on a position. And we're like, dude, what the fuck? Like you're telling everybody that something is like not going well. And then we find out that you're actually made like 25 grand on the fucking trade so far. Like, what are you telling us you're down 2,000 for? What? That doesn't even make sense. So again, we got to know the difference. So when you're telling chat, you got to be specific, some of you, because again, if someone sees that you're saying that something's red and that it's going down and not good, that's good if you specify that, oh, this is out of a position that's significantly up, because otherwise it gets echo chambered and other people look at this and they say, oh, you know what? I'm going to take profit. This is not a good position anymore. And it just, you can't help it. Even I do it. I look at chat and someone says something and my brain automatically wants to start to process what that is. And I've talked about it before. That's where we got to all be saying as many ideas as possible while still being respectful of the idea that people are in different positions and it's going to cause a different reaction based on that. And so that's where just specify, right? Because again, it helps. Again, it's actually one of the craziest things how much this churning of just ideas turns into very good trades. Like it's like I'm not even sure what the fuck. Like obviously, like I can post a chart or whatever the hell I do, and things happen. But it's like this kind of thing where you're in like the tallow position here today or yesterday, and then it comes down to today and understanding that, okay, I can break even on that trade because here's what's happening. But there's like different things that could happen. Like you look at this chart and you have no idea what's going on intraday, right? But someone's in the position and now you understand it, right? Because they mention it, and those things do help. Or like me telling you that AMD's bearish, right? But semiconductors are bullish. You could get really easily, you could get sucked into making these trades by yourself, but as you know, a conglomerate of people here, we know not to go trade AMD, right? We don't trade it. That's a bad idea. If anything, you short it on that trend line break, right? Maybe on your own you want to buy Facebook. Most of you for the last few months have wanted to buy Facebook really fucking badly. You might have gotten the trade here, which again I was completely fine with that one, but all the other ones, even here, no way am I getting in here. But, you know, it's like this is a meme, but I mean it's still one of the fucking FANG stocks, right? All in finally. JJ's like, we got it on the screen. I have him muted. I don't want to listen to him anymore, but I see it on the screen. Is he saying to buy that? Okay, I'm gonna buy it. Oh, everyone on Twitter is saying Facebook. I better buy it. Speaking of which, we're still pushing that, looking for it to continue. Uber. What's going on with Uber today? Somebody give me thoughts. Somebody give me thoughts because, again, not thoughts as in like, people with a derogatory term. Pull back into support by tomorrow over the weekend. I'm thinking it. What do you guys think? I mean, I told you bullish candle yesterday. I think this is a market response. Absolutely. Basically, the market response, I actually really liked that in there. I didn't see the intraday yet. That's a buy tomorrow for me, boys. Opens on support or above. Traded over the weekend. Absolutely. That's me. I think there might be some relation in terms of the Lyft stock that this might be a better overall trade. But in terms of, this is obviously more bullish, right? This is more bullish. It didn't pull back the same way. It's still towards the upside, right? You've just got tightening. But the Uber ticker is actually, it's further down, so it's probably going to catch up, right? That idea of catch up that we talk about, not catch up as in what you eat on burgers. The idea of a sort of a converging of these two, I think makes a lot of sense. This is further ahead, but are you going to make, if both break out at the same time, are you going to make more here or on Uber? That's a very difficult question. It's going to be dependent on your contracts. This has further to go, right? So Lyft is up here already, and if they both move at the same time, this would be an overall larger underlying percent, right? There's a few different ways to think about it, right? You've got resistance to still get through here. You've got a resistance here to get through. On the Lyft chart, you've only got one you have to worry about would be if you break, then you only have the high. But we know all-time high is a good thing. So there's, again, opportunity cost of which one. Lyft or Uber, let's say they both make a break and make the same move. Which one do you make more money on? That's something that you have to decide. I can't tell you that because if I buy 100 contracts of one, 50 contracts the other, some of them are out of the money, some are in the money, at the money, different dates. All of those are going to make different reactions, right? On both charts. Has nothing to do with just the underlying point move, right? A lot to do with volatility. This move is really nice. It had a lot of supply in here. Uber chart is in a situation where there's a lot more volatility involved, right? So it's already higher premiums. It's higher premiums and it's at a lower price. These sort of things, again, matter. And this is research you'd have to do on your own. I actually can't even help you. So, other than I want to be a buyer over here. Flag idea. Another break idea of this. Copy the trend line. Whoops. Copy it. Copy. Again, I know there's a wick here, but you know what I mean. So, anyway, there are a lot of good ideas, and again, I hope we I'm not talking about I hope the market goes up. I hope for your positions, you're doing well in terms of management. If you're not doing well, critique yourself. And then also if you're down but you're in long positions, understand that you're probably pushing that through some red because you're looking for that future green where, again, based on what we see here, we're expecting consolidation, so you need to be deciding how best to, like, if tomorrow continues to go flat or something, or just barely moves, you can't say, well, that was a surprise. That's a big surprise to me. No, that's not going to be a surprise. So these sort of ideas, you got to be, if you're willing to hold right, if you held here, then you need to be willing to hold here, right? That's where I talk about it doesn't make sense to sell up here if you didn't sell down here, right? So if tomorrow you sell when price is like here at 390.70, but you didn't sell at 380 87.70. Well, then that doesn't make any sense, right? So why wait a day and sell at the price? Like these sort of, I know I just said that a little bit backwards, but I just mean in terms of you can't just like all of a sudden randomly make a decision when you're making a long push, then push it, right? Continue that move. Otherwise, you're going to be doing that thing where the price makes this move, you hold, it bounces, and then it breaks this low, and then you're like, okay, well, now I'll sell. Now I'll sell. That's what I mean. Like, you could have just sold here. Like, the more you wait and the more you go, you could have already made the decision and then just re-entered anyway. So don't be that kind of, don't be that type of trader. Not right now when you know price consolidating. If you're holding moves from here or from here and your position's still up, those are the things to think of. If you're in positions that have nothing to do with this in the market and you're in something like QFIN, TCS here, then you don't care. Right? If you're in trades, like I know there's other examples, but you're in trades that are doing this kind of thing, you don't care about the average, right? LX, you're trading this schedule, so you don't care about the market, and continue to not care until the chart makes a difference, right? Until that overall demand and supply and demand causes something, you don't change because this is still trending, making its move. Continue to look for these sort of charts. So maybe during lunch, do some hunting. Again, I would say we're looking to be buyers tomorrow until something changes. And again, when I say being buyers, we're talking about long terms, not contracts that expire tomorrow, and probably not March monthlies. March monthlies are short-term trades that you don't hold through anything. If you're in March monthlies and held through anything, you're still not understanding what you should be doing. Okay? If anyone here is in March monthlies from yesterday that are down today, the underlying's down today, you're still not understanding what you should be doing. I'm just gonna say that right now. You don't. There's something it's not clicking. Okay? You could just rebuy. Like if your contracts are down today, that's the ones I'm talking about. You could have just rebought those. Don't hold those. Don't overthink it, right? And that's where just put your stop in at your break even. Just put the stop in at the break even and use that as a mindset. I use a mental stop for it because, again, I don't want fucking every single trade going off every second. And then I don't know if it got triggered or what the price is. And then I got a market stop that just triggered my break even order that it didn't even need to get triggered in the first place, like these type of things that it's a market order. So be careful about that. Use mental stops when you can. But for some of you, obviously put the stop in there. Okay, let's take a break for lunch. I'm actually really getting pumped for close right now because I think the big boys are coming. So, I mean, I already came. So again, stop being so gross. I'm talking about like my entries and everything. I'm here. I think the other big boys are going to enter the market, and we're going to get some fun. We're going to have some fun. So I'll see you guys at close. Sticky, greasy fingers, exactly. You're the only one making the gross references at this point. I'm just trying to add a little bit of entertainment for you guys, all right? I will see you guys at close. Those of you that are not going to be here for whatever other things, I'll see you in the morning. I think tomorrow's going to be a great day as well. So be prepared. You got to be prepared for tomorrow. You want to make money, be prepared. I'll have some good stuff out tonight. Also, I'm going to see you guys in a few hours. I'll see you at close. Have a great lunch. Drink some water. Get out of your chair. Do some jumping jacks. See you in a bit.